Okay, awesome. So hello everybody who's watching so far, and welcome to this, the first match of today's ISL group stage cast. We are today casting, I believe, groups 5 to 8, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hacklebeast?
I believe we're only doing 5 and 6.
5 and 6, okay, sweet. Not like last week, okay. Groups 5 and 6 are going to be today. You can go and have a look at what they are over on altitudeisl.com, I believe it is, or is it .net? .net, okay. Altitudeisl.net will give you all the information that you need. And this first match is going to be ISL 3 eonzerg versus ISL 3 locdog. Two very well respected, very well known players within the scene. And yeah, I expect to see pretty good games from them. I'm not quite sure who would be favoured in this one though. I don't know really much about the individual stats of the players. What do you reckon, Hacklebeast?
I think if you were to just take it on paper, you have to slightly favor locdog, but yeah. eonzerg is my upset pick, not only to win this match, but I think eonzerg's getting out of the group. And he's certainly the underdog in the group, but just what I've seen on eonzerg, I like ZBZ. I think that his particularly aggressive style versus Protoss matches up well versus locdog. I'm picking eonzerg for the upset in this matchup. Okay. Yeah, I quite like that. I mean, we've got, in this particular group, we've got eonzerg, Flip, Astro, and locdog, and that's definitely a stacked up group. I mean, that's some really tough stuff. We're going to see a lot of PvZ, obviously. 2 Zerg players, 2 Protoss players, which plays pretty much right into my hands. So that's cool. But yeah, it's a tough group, and we'll see if eonzerg can do the magic and get through. So the map is Circuit Breakers, a very nice long-term macro style with so many bases on this map and such an open center. However, I'm not sure if we're going to see that really play itself out, because as I said before, eonzerg and locdog are known for being some of the more aggressive players out there. So I don't know if we'll quite get to that long-term 8 base for 7 base play that is certainly possible on this map.
Yeah, I think you're right. Although, yeah, I think we could see, depending on the Zerg's expansion choices, if the Zerg chooses to lay down that mineral only, then they do leave themselves a little bit vulnerable to kind of big 2-base Protoss timing attacks, maybe speed dice attacks running down that big ramp and getting the kind of a little bit of a surprise element onto that 3rd base mineral only. But if the Zerg chooses to take the perhaps the 9 o'clock base or the top left, they leave themselves a little bit less vulnerable, and it can go to a longer game, in my humble opinion. It can be a little bit difficult though in the late game for Protoss to shut down Zerg as they get these sunken bases. The Zerg can really entrench themselves pretty well in there, so I think the Protoss might be a little bit more eager to close the game out than the Zerg will. But again, we'll see.
That is not the way to properly wall from locdog.
It's very strange.
Yeah, I think that's 3 holes above the gateway.
I don't know if above the gateway is a gap. It's always a little bit touch and go when you're walling off next to the cliff with the gateway. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway,
but so first there's multiple holes, and second he's going to have to destroy the gateway to get out with the goons eventually. So, but 2 cannons, he's safe for now. I mean, it would still take a lot of resources for eonzerg to get through that. He should be alright for the moment. But yeah, that is an inconvenience, and we do see the Zerg deciding to lay down that hatchery at the top left-hand base. And just as that happens, ISL 3 locdog heads on straight over there, gets a little bit of a scout at that hatchery about halfway done. So hopefully he'll adjust his game plan according to that. And this could mean that we see a little bit of a longer game. Of course, when you take that expansion, you are rather gearing up to take the very top left main as well. Allows us to get a nice quick 4, protected by the SimCity at that natural expansion. Now, there are 2 things that really characterize locdog's PvZ. The first is speed lots. He builds lots of speed lots and goes for attacks with his zealots that are sometimes a little bit uncharacteristic, either before speed finishes, just with 3 or 4 zealots when the Zerg's not expecting it, or he waits a little bit and waits for an entire control group before moving out instead of 7. And then the second thing that characterizes his PvZ is that he is one of the players, him actually along with Astro, the other Protoss from this group, the player who likes, who likes recalls in PvZ. Certainly not every game, but as opposed to nearly every other Protoss who doesn't do it at all, Astro and Locdog have been known to bust it out occasionally. So, given both of them in a group with 2 Zergs, there is a chance that we get to see a little bit of that in one of these games.
Yeah, well, it is an interesting thing to see, especially as we've already mentioned. Oh, we actually have a Zealot up at the top left doing a little bit of damage. He managed to grab himself 1 drone kill. That's a little bit of an interesting gambit. We have a bunch of Zerglings heading on up there now. He shouldn't be too pressed to keep all the rest of his drones alive. Taking 1 or 2 unnecessary hits on that one, but it should be just fine. As I was about to say, yeah, the possibility of arbiters is quite an interesting one. We can see some fun stuff happen where the Protoss army gets dropped into a Zerg main, whether it's the 4th base or the original main base is yet to be seen, and then sniping off overlords with goons can actually prove to be pretty effective. And it can be really quite a fun strategy to witness and to watch the Zerg just kind of sit there and go, what the hell is happening to me and why can't I do anything about it? Not that it's a foregone conclusion, it would be a pretty surprising thing to see, but yeah, definitely could happen. Make it a bit exciting.
eonzerg's speed has finished, and he has a scary number of Zerglings sitting outside Locdog's base. Locdog opting for the very early goon, which I'll get back to that later. But eonzerg's almost threatening that he could try to go for a run by. I don't think that he would be able to quite do it with the numbers he has now, but adding just a couple more, and that would be a threat. Locdog might be forced to build a 3rd cannon earlier than he would normally want to.
I think, though, that Locdog is going to be quite okay. He's going to feel alright now that he's chasing away the Overlord, and he's got a DT on the way out as well, so he should be able to, at the very least, get that ramp blocked. We do see the drone going up to the 4th base of the Zerg now, so it is going to be more of a long-term economy strategy, as signified, of course, by that natural expansion going down. We have another hatchery happening as well. Getting slightly supply blocked here, so he needs to be a little bit quicker about getting his Overlords. Has 1 out now, I believe, so yeah, he's not supply blocked anymore. We already have Scourge coming. We have air armor upgrading as well, so that's a little bit of an interesting development.
Yes, it is. It's almost an indication that he's planning on going for Mutalisks later on. There are some Zerg players who will get the +1 even without Mutalisks, but typically if you're going to get it, especially as soon as your Spire finishes, when gas is at a bit of a premium, indicates that you're going to go for Mutalisk switch, which isn't traditional off of a 4-base turtling style. So I'm interested to see how he incorporates it in. DT sneaking into the base. There are 2 Overlords to see it, but no defenses at the moment. The Sunken just finishing now, and 2 drones, 3, 4, and 5. Ooh, eonzerg didn't. I'm not sure what was the best way to react to that. He kind of had to keep the drones there because the Sunken was the only defense around, but unfortunately going to lose 5 drones even though he had detection.
Yeah, I think it would have been a little bit of a better idea to possibly let that DT go up. He would have had a little bit of a go at that hatchery, but I think he would have easily been able to get some Zerglings out in order to defend. But realistically, it probably wouldn't have cost him that much difference in minerals, so that was pretty much as good an option as any. A couple of Scourge just doing the flying around thing. Looking for the Corsairs. We have Locdog hiding his Corsairs a little bit at the back of the base. Slightly odd place to hide them, away from the safety of the photon cannon. We do have a Hydralisk den up now as well, and a few Mutas already out, so we'll see how this develops. But yeah, as you said before, we could be seeing a kind of a little bit of a... I'm hesitant to say it, but we could actually see eonzerg moving to Guardians, much as we saw... Who did we see do that last week?
It was... Shad.
Yeah, it was Shad, wasn't it? So
but that was versus
I don't want to call
Terran.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so it's very unlikely that we're going to be seeing that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how he incorporates the Mutalisks in. Mutalisks could work relatively well with the 4-base style, because you can have the Mutalisks bounce back and forth as long as you're not losing them, and he shouldn't lose too many with the +1 armor. But the issue is that he's devoting a lot of gas into Mutalisks and not into Lurkers, and a hallmark of going 4-base Turtle Zerg is getting those Lurkers out in a good enough time to be able to have really good defense at both bases. So he's gonna be sacrificing some Lurkers to get those Mutalisks. With proper Mutalisk micro, he should be fine. But if he's a little bit uncareful and loses some of them, ooh, nice Scourge hits. Then he could be in trouble.
Those Scourge hits are, a really big winner for him right there. He's able to easily take that battle. That's a pretty big deal actually for Locdog. And we see him sending a bunch of Zealots out, but realistically, he's not really going to be able to protect those Zealots as they make their way across the map. They should probably do a little bit of damage when they get to the other end, but honestly, after losing all those Corsairs, he's going to have a hard time making them pay for themselves. We do have him busting his way out of his main base as well. Oh, looks like he's going to have to destroy a cannon to get that final Dragoon out. The Zealots are now in, and as expected, the Mutalisks are going to make pretty light work of them. which is actually going to cost locdog quite badly, and we do have a bunch of zerglings popping out now as well, and this is going to be pretty problematic for the locdog. He's losing all his zealots, he's streaming in more, but I don't know if that's the best idea. However, it does seem like quite a lot of drones have gone down. I'm not quite sure if something weird has happened to them or if they have indeed all died.
No, they were pulled to try to combat the zealots, so he did end up losing all of his drones in that engagement, but locdog losing 14 speed lots.
Yeah, it's probably not the best deal for locdog. He's got no corsairs, he has very little in the way of standing army left at all, while the Zerg goes on up to 4 base, and he should be able to replenish his drones quite quickly, and those mutas finishing off the zealots pretty easily there. Attacking his own hatchery, which is a little bit strange, but he does see it in time, fortunately saving himself from a very, very embarrassing mistake. But if we go back to the natural and have a look at what locdog is actually working with here, he's got 2 Archons, a Zaz and a Goon. And I really wouldn't endorse him moving out across the map with this at all. He has 3 Corsairs flying up front. They can't look after themselves in any way. And a lot of Mutalists now heading around into the main base, possibly to try and do some real damage to the infrastructure of locdog.
That first attack from locdog, moving out with 12 to 14 speed lots, is a very locdog-esque attack. Not moving out with the initial 7, but waiting for a little bit stronger of an attack. Unfortunately, that style really backfired at him because he gave eonzerg exactly enough time to completely wipe out the Corsair fleet and then get back home with his Mutalisks to defend it. So, an unfortunate timing for him. Ooh, that Archon getting off some nice hits on those Mutalisks. That's really what locdog needs right now. He needs some way to soften it up, and Archon hits are going to be a very quick way to do that.
Yeah, we actually saw the Archons land some pretty good hits earlier on, just as they were leaving the natural. Those Mutalisks are now pretty much useless. He needs to be able to get a few more Scourge outs, get some snipes from those Corsairs, and this looks like it might actually be a pretty good attack for locdog. Streaming quite a few Archons here, going to be able to easily deal with those sunken colonies. Drones being pulled once again, but yet again he loses all the drones at his 4th base. It looks like some Hydras might just be popping out to save the day, and finally this Archon Zealot army will go down. Quite heavy cost for both sides there. Locdog pretty much losing his entire standing army. He should probably be pulling these Dragoons back. They're not going to be the game winner at this point. Doing some nice damage there, might just keep him in this game for a while longer, and preparing to lay down a 3rd base as well. While at the other side of things, we still have no sign of any kind of lurk attack, so maybe he's just going to go for a great big Hydra game, relying on a massive economic advantage. Which he doesn't have, he's got drones. Immediately
after you said that, Lurker upgrade just started. So, but you're right. Lurker upgrade very late for eonzerg, devoting a lot of his gas to the Mutalisks. And really, in that battle, eonzerg held position with his Mutalisks and lost the entire flock to just 2 Corsairs. A really bad mistake, and even though locdog isn't going to be able to actually take out that base, combining the drone kills he got with the Mutalisk kills, that was a very successful attack. And it's really going to hurt eonzerg because he doesn't have that control group of Mutalisks anymore. He's just down to the 1, and 1 Mutalisk is not going to do anything.
But eonzerg does have the better army, and in he goes, taking out the first Proto Gun. Will he be able to get the Templar Snipes? No, he doesn't. Nice storms going down all over the Hydralists, and the Zerg army is forced to retreat immediately. Really, really beautiful engagement there for locdog, being super, super cost efficient, losing 1 High Templar, but managing to get all his storms off in the meantime. There's still a decent army left standing for eonzerg, but he does choose to pull back instead. Those cannons on the right-hand side are getting up. That's going to be difficult to take out quite soon if he doesn't squash that pretty quickly. In fact, it's already going to be quite a mission to get rid of. Locdog feels confident pushing out again. eonzerg is definitely going to be forced back across the map. While all this is going on, we still have no lurkers out on the map. No lurkers to defend any of the bases. Hatching more drones out at the same time as well. We see eonzerg's army just dwindling while his economy tries to get back into shape. Look at all the drones not mining at his 4th base. Now getting them all mining, but they've been standing idle for quite some time.
Yep. At this point in the game, a turtling Zerg should be absolutely secure against an army like this, but that's because a turtle Zerg normally has 7 lurkers at both bases, or some ungodly number. But in this situation, eonzerg did not go for the lurkers, and he lost all of his Mutalisks, so he needs to be really, really careful here, and locdog has a great opportunity to do a lot of damage to a base.
Yeah, I think locdog is going to be able to capitalize on that opportunity doubly, because he of course has the +2 weapons, while from the Zerg we have 0 in the way of armor upgrades, so that Protoss army is going to be cutting through the Zerg forces like a hot knife through butter, and that's going to be making life very difficult for eonzerg, especially now that locdog has that 3rd base up. It's a relatively opportune time, not brilliant, but okay. Queen's Nest now finished for eonzerg, so he's going to be going up to that dreaded hive tech quite soon. Having managed to hold on to 4 bases is probably going to be a pretty good move for him.
Lockdog's going to be forced to pull back, only has 2 High Templar and no Observers out. So that's really going to That's going to stop him for the time being. He does have an observer at his natural, but until he flies one out with the rest of his army, they're not going to be able to attack the 3rd and 4th bases.
No.
No. eonzerg has a lot of hatcheries, which is quite interesting. Now getting up to hive tech. So
it's still hatching drones.
It's almost like he's gearing up for some kind of Sauronzerg, just going to spam cracklings and hydralisks with not a lot of higher tier units, or at least that's what it looks like he's gearing up for. I mean, he has 8 hatcheries off of 4 bases.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one hell of a lot. I wouldn't be too surprised to see it. He runs the risk right now of getting his army pretty nastily caught. One nice side storm going off. These lurkers are going to make pretty easy work of these cannons, but it's what he really needs to be worried about is this big Protest army coming from the back. I don't know if there are observers, though. I'm having a look now. I do see an observatory, but I don't know where the Protest observers are, and this means that he's going to have to stand off just a little bit while eonzerg takes control of that channel. And has the crucial time which he needs to decide whether to stay in or to pull back out again. I do see one observer out scouting the Zerg army at the top of the map, but the Protoss is in quite a good position to take the Zerg army out. I think if eonzerg is smart, he'll be pulling back quite soon, and all these guys are going to get caught. Is there an observer in? Because if so, this can make very short work. No, we still don't have an observer in, so he's going to have to use up a lot of his side storm, but some clumped lurkers make that not too difficult to do, and the Protoss, once again in no threat, is going to be able to push out again and possibly harass the Zerg base a little more. And this is going to be nice because he can try and force him to use up a few of his resources now before he wants to be really busting them all on his big tech. We do have a Defiler man going down as well, so it's not going to be kind of pure crackling Hydra's kind of style.
The Defiler Mat is an interesting situation. Or, excuse me, not an interesting situation, an interesting decision. He's already showing that he's going to build a lot of low-tier units, and that takes a lot of APM from a player who... 240, that's a pretty good APM. But once you start incorporating Defiler spells and controlling 8 control group armies into the later game, can be very taxing on a player. And we'll have to see how he controls it. We've already seen a little bit of control mistakes from him earlier with much smaller armies, so I'm a little bit worried for him controlling that big of an army with spells later in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. Interesting to know right now that we have an Arbiter Tribunal down, and we have the first Arbiter already in production for locdog, so you're exactly right when you called that out right at the very beginning of the game. It is going to be Arbiter Tech. Recall is now done, and we'll see what this can do. However, at the same time, on the right, we have Zerg pushing in. I don't think this is a very good idea. There is one High Templar, which is pretty much full of Storm. Will it be used? Yes, it will get used, and this is going to be a horrible, horrible engagement. Zerg, please stop going into that base right now. Army getting absolutely brutally cleaned up for eonzerg. We might be able to do a little bit of damage to the economy in this base, but honestly, that's a terrible, terrible engagement. Locdog needs to pounce on this opportunity now to get over to some of the Zerg bases and do some real damage, which he hasn't been able to do yet all game, and this could be one of his very few opportunities and timing windows to do just that.
Uh-oh. Locdog's attacking his Nexus.
Oh!
Nexus below half.
No!
Uh-oh.
No!
Uh-oh! Locdog!
No!
Locdog!
Oh!
Oh, Locdog.
No!
Oh.
That's a massive shame.
Twice.
On stream, Locdog, for shame. And at the same time, eonzerg deciding to bring out a whole load more units, but that's so bad. All these lurkers are going to get caught by a big, big Protoss army. That is such an expensive error. So much storm going down, so many lurkers falling. That pretty much makes up for that cock-up of a lost Nexus right there. Huge side storm managing to take out a whole load of links at the right-hand base as well. But we see big, big mistakes going in from both players there. Locdog making the more innocuous error of taking down his own Nexus. And then eonzerg running a whole bunch of clumped lurkers directly into Protoss fire. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. Locdog maybe lost a single unit in that engagement. He still hasn't even rebuilt the Nexus yet.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take?
Oh,
he has a probe sitting there. I think he's waiting for units to get out of the way before he finally can.
It'd be well advised. I mean, he pretty much needs that economy really, really badly. He's going to be short on gas right now. We can see his minerals piling up just a little bit. He's also working on that top right-hand base. All the while, the Zerg still doesn't have his first Defiler out. He does have his first Ultralisk out, so watch out, guys. But it's still on only one armor, so it's going to be a little while before that's really useful. Also, where is the Arbiter? The first Arbiter is just sitting there building up energy. So I have a strong feeling that we're going to be seeing Locdog just build up to a nice big recall. A bit of a crackling attack coming in, but that's not going to do anything without the Defiler support. It does have the Defiler support. There is a Defiler with full energy coming in to back these guys up, but a nice Protest army is going to be able to make sure this doesn't do too much. A couple of nice swarms, but easily cleaned up for Locdog. A big force now looking like it's making ready to drop. Yes, eonzerg is loading up a drop at the top base, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed he is. That is almost all cracklings, just 3 ultralisks. I think that might be a little bit unnecessary considering there are only 4 cannons on the high ground. But it's still going to be able to take it out. eonzerg might not actually realize exactly what is there.
Yeah.
So,
although we did have Zerglings there up until pretty recently, so should know the deal. We all know how scary huge amounts of cracklings are, though. If they're dropped into a main base, they can get rid of that in minutes. They're really very efficient.
So, Locdog's army still sitting in the middle of the map and defending against eonzerg's kind of stream of lower tier units. The cracklings have dropped now, and they should be, yeah, they're going to be able to take care of this pretty easily. Doesn't quite drop him in the right location, so he's going to lose a couple more than he should have, but still easily taking out the cluster of cannons. And here comes the Arbiter going down into the main. Recall! Recall! There we go! Recall. Good recall. Lots of units in there, and they're going to be able to take out this high-tech stuff so fast for eonzerg. Now, the question is, how quick can eonzerg get reinforcements to try to combat this? Ooh, he doesn't have an Overlord. Okay, he's bringing an Overlord back now. He does need an Overlord to be able to see the Arbiter. And how much tech are they going to be able to get? The Spire has gone down. The Defiler Mound has gone down. The Hive is at 300, 200. And the Hive goes down. So lots of good damage to the tech. And I don't think that that eonzerg quite sent enough to deal with what's here. Just a couple of Ultralisks left. No, they're still going to be able to do more damage, getting the Queen's Nest and getting the spawning pool. This is going to put eonzerg back to basically no tech, just a Hydralisk den. And this...
sorry, go on.
No, a drop on the 3 o'clock base for eonzerg, right into the cannons, and Storm going down. Very nicely placed. Storm's going to be able to do a lot of damage, but still, it may or may not be enough. Units coming in for both players. Combat at the ramp. While Zerglings are taking out all the cannons in the main, there are a couple of Zealots in there which are slowing them down. But here comes a ball of Archons. That should be enough. Locdog with a very gas-heavy army. So many High Templars and Archons.
Yeah, which is going to be pretty nice. I think he could do with maybe morphing a couple of High Templars into Archons. But having said that, Storm can be pretty useful against huge seas of crackling. Just having a look at the economy for eonzerg, it's looking a little bit ropey right now. At the top left-hand set of bases, we're a little bit short on minerals at the natural, doing okay at the main, but no drones mining as of yet on the left-hand base either. So eonzerg not looking in the best position he could possibly be. And I'm surprised he hasn't bothered to really clear out his main, but I suppose why would he? He's got nothing left to hang around there for. That Arbiter is still just relaxing. He's going to have enough energy for another recall soon, so that could be another nice little bit of an avenue for Locdog to use.
eonzerg still has not rebuilt his tech. He only has an Ultralisk Cabinet and a Hydralisk Den to make units from, so he's going to go within a forced Ultra Hydralisk composition. And that is... Oh, engagement in the middle of the map. There are a lot of DTs out for Locdog. A very good counter to Ultralisks, especially eonzerg is not careful with his Overlord placement, and it doesn't look like he is. Those DTs are going to do a lot of damage, and very nice Storm going down, hitting a lot of the units.
Yeah, and his own observer.
Ooh, getting his own. That's unfortunate. I don't know if there are any lurkers left, though. There was a lot of storms there. Nope, no more lurkers left. So Locdog going to be able to win that. And that...
Yeah. Oh, Arbiter, recalling the fourth. We have an Arbiter going in. Will he be able to take out the tank? Oh, it's a tiny recall. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. I think he would have wanted a little bit more to go in. But either way, he should be able to take out a good number of drones. Might be able to take out the Ultralisk Cavern as well, which would be a pretty good idea. Not that eonzerg has any cash right now to spend. He has pretty much nothing in the way of economy. He's got like 4 or 5 drones mining on the left-hand base. A good number of drones mining in the natural, but honestly his economy is so screwed that Ultralisk Den would be of hardly any use anyway. He's going to come in and be able to clean this up now, but what I'm wondering is if we'll see another recall, because we have another high energy Arbiter in there as well. 150 is enough for a recall of course, but I think he's just going to go straight on and take out the Zerg base at the 9 o'clock position, and I think he is just going to do just that right now with his base. As he heads in there, he's going to be met with a few lurkers, but he would do well to tank some fire with 1 or 2 zealots and just do a little bit of a run by to get him busted right in there.
little bit of miscontrol. Goon blocking the ramp, preventing the rest of the goons from getting down, but cleared that up, and we'll be able to clean up that base.
Yeah.
And locdog is in a dominating position here. eonzerg only mining from 2 bases, and one of them is a very exposed mineral only, and it looks like locdog's gearing up to take that out just as we speak. One zealot's got sent in early. No, he's not going to.
Yeah, but I think this little army is going to be used for another recall into the top left-hand base. We have another arbiter going in now, and eonzerg is totally unprepared for this. There's nothing he can do. All these hatcheries are probably going to go down. That's a big recall this time. That's some high damage stuff. We've got archons, we've got goons, we got all the good stuff which you need to be taking out hatcheries. Absolutely post-haste. One goes down. I expect the second and third to go down any minute. And honestly, eonzerg is in a whole lot of trouble right now with locdog on a good number of bases still mining, doing some last-ditch stuff, trying to take out some of the economy. But honestly, he's going to have a hard time. There's a lot of cannons there, coming with a couple of obelisks and some hydras. But all the while, his 4th base is getting destroyed, and that will see the last of his economy gone.
No, with no defilers, this attack certainly will not work out, and this will be eonzerg's last-ditch attempt, I do believe, as he's only mining off of 2 bases, only has a hydralisk den, so he can only make hydralisks and lurkers from this point on. Still nowhere near hive tech, and yeah, it's a very well played game from locdog.
Yeah, it was just kind of calm. I think eonzerg could have taken advantage of the whole mid-section of the game a little bit more. He looked a little bit weedy against those early attacks, but GG either way from eonzerg, and locdog takes game 1 for today. Recalls were nice though.
Yes, indeed. And I think it's interesting to compare recalls versus Terran compared to recalls versus Zerg, because recalls versus Terran, it can be really hard for the Terran to get back and defend, just getting their siege tanks into position and whatnot. But versus Zerg, they can get the units back very quickly. At the same time, all the Zerg's tech structures are all together, all concentrated, and all very easy to pick off. Where Terran, there's not as much you can kill. Well, after you take out the armories, you just kind of start shooting at supply depots and factories and try to get something done. So it's kind of a weird dichotomy in that you can do a lot of damage very quick against Zerg, but it's easier for Zerg to defend it in some certain circumstances.
Yep.
So we are moving on to the next game, which will be Astro versus Flip.
It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good. Astro, one of Canada's best players. Flip, one of America's best players. And a PVZ once again. So, let's start this off.
Yeah, we're ready to do this. Okay, we're good. I shall do the calling out once again. In the top left-hand corner, we have Astro spawning in as the yellow Protoss. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Flip coming in as the teal Zerg. We do have the same colours, don't we? I think we should have the same colours.
We do, in fact, have the same colours.
Okay, I always worry about that if I'm kind of miscalling it. At the beginning of this game, it's probably cool if we do a little bit of a shout out to our main sponsor, which is, of course, Altitude, as you see probably all over your screen right now and in between every game. Altitude is a very, very cool indie multiplayer game. Go check it out if you have time. Over at altitudeisl.net, you can see all the full results, standings, brackets, groups, all that fun stuff, and also get a direct link to our sponsor's main page as well. So big thanks to them, and I hope you go and have a look.
Indeed, free to sign up for. It takes about 5 minutes to download, and you have full access to the game. So certainly encourage everybody to go and at least try it out.
Yeah, absolutely. But right now what we have is another PvZ on the same map once again, so it's quite interesting to see this kind of situation where we have kind of the play styles of 4 different players directly played off against each other from one game to the next. So we'll see how differently this game pans out compared to the last one.
Now, Flip is a player who goes for a very similar build versus Protoss every time. Likes to go for 3 base Mutalisk, in the same vein of kind of how Cole goes for his 3 base Mutalisks, and plays the pretty standard 3 hatch Spire into 5 hatch Hydra, but just kind of delays the lurkers for a while and gets out a lot of Mutalisks and tries to do damage with them. And so from the Zerg's perspective, it's going to be rather similar. We might not see quite as fast as a fourth. And from Astro's perspective, Astro does not favor those kind of strong speed lot attacks that we saw from Dusakwe.
No.
So we'll have to see how he reacts to the Mutalisks, because Dusakwe's playstyle combated Mutalisks in probably the worst way possible, and ended up with 12 Mutalisk versus 12 speed lots. But
yeah, I'm very surprised after that opening that he actually managed to win in the end, because usually that's a disaster situation for Protoss when that first couple of timing attacks really unable to do anything, but just somehow through persistence he was able to really do some good damage, which I think was probably more eonzerg's fault than Dusakwe's genius, not to take it away from him. But yeah, either way, I was a little bit surprised to see the game progress the way it did.
Yeah. After showing off a little bit of fanciness, he built 2 cannons after seeing the timing of the pool, but then based on how fast the hatchery was thrown down, he cancelled one of the cannons to get down the gateway and the nexus faster. So nice subtle pickup by Astro there to know that Flip was not building a full set of 6 Zerglings, and knew he could save a little bit of money by cancelling one of those cannons.
Yeah, always a very good idea. It just gets you that little nose ahead in the economic game versus Zerg. And right now we just have those 2 Zerglings chasing around Mr. Probe in the Zerg's main base. You should be able to keep it alive for a good long while. We wouldn't see link speed coming in for just yet, and if he micros correctly, he should be able to keep that alive at least until link speed happens. But he might choose to get out and have a little bit of scatter off third base. Either way, we have the natural expansion up now for the Zerg, and I'm just curious to see where he lays. He has already laid down his third. He laid down his third, bottom left-hand corner. So we could see this game progress in a similar way as last, with Zerg gearing up to take a big mid game into a very kind of Zergling heavy hive tech kind of late game.
And as I was talking about how much Flip does the same build every PVZ, that's slightly out of characteristic for him. He tends to like to take the closer third gas rather than the one farther away. So we might in fact see him go for something that is a little bit more akin to eonzerg style of turtling behind Mutalisks rather than being aggressive immediately after the Mutalisks, as that base would seem to indicate. Meanwhile, Astro's doing everything that a good Protoss should be doing. He has +1 on the way. Cybercore is done and should be throwing down Stargate. Ooh, no. He's going to throw down the Citadel first.
Oh, so that's going to be very, pretty much definitely big kind of speeds out timing attacky style, which, again, curious given that I would have thought he would know Flip's kind of ZVP style. But the Overlord is going to be pretty late in getting there. It's only making its way kind of halfway across the top of the map now, so he's going to see that +1 weapons happening pretty far into the deal. I expect to see a couple more gateways being laid down any minute now. We have natural gas being laid down too, so that means he will probably be going for laying down a Stargate pretty quickly, not wanting to be caught completely without technology. That Zerg Overlord is so painfully slow. He needs to get some Zerglings over there or something, because he needs to be a little bit wise to this +1 attack so he can adjust himself accordingly. Shouldn't be too much of a problem though. He will see it quite soon. We do have a Spire already down for the Zerg, so he might be able to do a good job of defending if he gets Muses out in time.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Astro plays this, going with the faster speed lot attack. 2 more gateways have been thrown down. Is he going to incorporate? Is he going to incorporate in Archons? Because if he wasn't going for pure speed lot and went for speed lots with 2 Archons, then all of a sudden what becomes really bad for him. It becomes a very scary build for him against Mutalisks. But
and that's a really old school build as well. It's always cool to see.
But he hasn't thrown down the Templar Archives yet, which is a little bit worrying. It doesn't look like he is going to be going for Archons like that.
No.
And man, it's going to be hard to defend against those Mutalisks, if in fact that is what Flip is going for. Spire getting pretty close to completion here.
Yeah, it can kind of alter depending on who's playing and how they play. I know it's maybe not the best example, but one that sticks in my mind quite well is remembering Paralyze. I can't remember exactly which Zerg he was playing against, but he played a really nice kind of guerrilla-style PvZ, whereby he was sending speed lots to all different corners, and though the Zerg was already on Mutas, he was just able to chip away at him really consistently and not give him a minute's peace. So we could see Astro go for a similar kind of thing. It looks like he's trying to hide out with his units just a little bit until the speed kicks in. There is a speed. We don't have the +1 weapons just yet. That will be coming in any second now. And he's going to get a really nice position on this bottom left-hand base. Will those Sunkens be done in time? There's a few links, and it looks like one Sunken's going to pop. Will the second one come up in time? Those Zealots are going to be super, super effective against all these Zerglings. And Astro does get a nice position. These Sunkens are in a lot of trouble already. Zerglings falling so quickly. One Sunken's going to go down momentarily. The second one's going to go down as well. And this is going to cost, at the very least, a whole lot of drones. And already we have Flip in a lot of trouble. He's just so underprepared for this, and I think we can largely attribute that to the incredibly late scouting. He would have done well to get some Zerglings over there and really see what the Protoss was doing, but in a lot of trouble now, desperately trying to throw down some extra colonies. It's going to be hard to get away from this without doing so much damage to the Zerg infrastructure.
Flip messed up his wall really badly, making that all three of his sunken colonies were completely exposed, weren't even behind one hatchery. They were pretty much as open as three of them could be in a cluster like that. And if they had been behind the Hydralisk Den and hatchery as they should have been, he still would have had a very difficult time doing it, but it at least would have been possible, as opposed to this, where there was nothing you could do against that speed lot attack. It was going to destroy his base, as the final hatchery is just now going down.
Yeah, I think he's gearing up for some kind of counterattack. We have a little bit of a Zergling run-by happening. There are, of course, two cannons already up, and they should be able to deal with the Zerglings pretty well. Also, with +1 speed zealots coming out of the gateways, he makes pretty easy work of that Zergling run-by attempt. More Zerglings coming in now, but honestly, that's not going to be doing too much damage, as he can just take his main army all the way back again, and his infrastructure is pretty badly destroyed. He's producing some Mutalisks now. But I would imagine we're going to have a pretty sturdy Protoss defense. We have two Stargates up already, prepared against exactly this kind of counter, and he's going to be producing Corsairs at quite an alarming rate.
Yeah, we were both really worried for Astro because we thought that the speed lot attack was just going to get eaten up by the Mutalisks, but because he went for a slightly faster variety, he managed to destroy that base just as the Mutalisks were popping out, and it very well countered the Mutalisks because Flip did not have any other units out on the field to try to defend against it. There was just nothing he could do until, as he waited for the Spire and then the Mutalisks to finish. Very nice build by Astro, and maybe he did very specifically pick it out for a player who likes to go Mutalisks.
Yeah, it's an absolute case of scouting being completely essential that we see in this game. It's a similar kind of thing when you're playing PvZ and you're trying to be aware of a Zergling run-by or a mass Zergling attack. Absolutely important to be all over the scouting, and we could see that the Zerg just completely dropped the ball on that and was 100% unaware of what was coming at him until the very last second, and it was too late by then, way too late.
So, Astro with nearly double supply, just a couple points away, and Flip is supply blocked, so he will be hiding behind his wall of evolution chambers and sunken colonies. That's going to keep him safe for a while, but he's certainly not going to be able to expand, not gain any real map presence, and it's just a matter of time before Astro can build up a big enough army to, in fact, break through that wall.
Yeah, it's really not looking good. I mean, this is a kind of absolute GG timing deal where he just tries to sit in his base for as long as possible. Not quite sure why. It seems he's going for some kind of bizarre Hydra Burst idea. A couple of Scourge catching some Corsairs in the middle of the map, not using them very efficiently, unfortunately. Who sacks 4 Scourge on 2 Corsairs. Not the best idea. 2 Hydralisks in production right now at the main base. 2 at the natural. That's not even enough for a super early Hydra Burst.
No.
Not enough for anything.
No, it's not. These Corsairs are going to be able to come in here and ignore 2 Spore colonies, kill off all the Mutalisks, and then feast on the Slow Overlords if he wanted to. No, he's going to back off with those +1 Corsairs. Well, yeah. That's the quote-unquote smart decision, to play it safe and not throw away 5 Corsairs to kill off everything there. He's ahead enough that he could have just sacrificed those Corsairs and put Flip at 44 out of 2 supply. Yeah. Oh, Scourge falling so fast. Yeah. Honestly, he could just kill every Overlord in the place right now, sack 1 or 2 Corsairs, and he wouldn't even notice the difference. I think that it's going to be GG pretty soon for Flip. Having seen the 3rd base, he's going to know that he has literally no chance going into the rest of this game. Might try a bit of a high tempo snipe to finish things off, but not executing that brilliantly well either. GG from Flip. And Astro will be moving on to play Locdog in the finals, or in the winners finals of this group.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see something a little bit different now. Well, of course, we'll be seeing a PvP now. So, but I hope from the next set of Zergs, that we see something maybe more lurker-based for that map. I think it might suit it a little bit better rather than all that kind of museless stuff which has just fallen flat on its face.
Is your chat for Twitch TV working?
Every time it doesn't, I refresh it and then it works.
Okay, because I got a message that said no such channel and then no comments after that, and after refreshing it gave me a lot of new text, but then no such channel came up again. So I can't be constantly refreshing while obsing. So you will have to tell me if the stream is broken and lots of people are yelling at me.
Yeah, no problem. I can do that.
All right. Whoops. Dang it. It's the third time in a row. Forgot to actually select a replay. All right. Winners match. Game is up.
Awesome. Okay, so we're pretty much ready to do this. This is going to be PvP featuring some cool foreign talents. If anyone wants to see any more details on the group stage, etc., you can head on straight over to altitudeisl.net, where you can get all the lowdown on everything that's going on today. And indeed, on any day, you can see all the groups and get a pretty much good update on literally everything ISL. So I encourage you to head on over there so you can keep up to date on things.
And here we go.
Okay, fantastic. We have ISL3 Astro spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, and at the top of the map, spawning in as the yellow Protoss, we have ISL3 Locdog. This match should be a pretty nice contest. Those two games we saw before were mostly, I wouldn't say one-sided. I think the first game was a lot less one-sided than the second one. But yeah, this map has some potential to see some pretty interesting PvP stuff. You have quite a lot of options here in terms of Reaver plays because of this this kind of expansion positioning. And it's quite common to see relatively quick expand builds, but we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, a little bit of a clash of styles. Oh, aha! I refreshed my chat just in time for people to remind me to switch back to full screen. Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
A little bit of a clash of styles in the sense of Locdog plays a slightly more aggressive style of PvP, Astro playing a slightly more passive style of PvP, and trying to get up to those 160 supply perfectly compositioned army.
Yeah.
So, interested to see if Locdog can force a faster game, or if Astro will be able to hold him off and create the 200 versus 200 type of PvP that he would much rather play against.
Yeah. On the one hand, this map can be quite good for kind of super aggressive early kind of Protoss plays, kind of 3-gate kind of stuff, pushing down that reverse ramp. But of course, if you manage to do something a little bit quirky, a little bit interesting, like throwing down a robo close to that ramp, walking a Reaver up for defense of an early Nexus, then you can see it taking quite well into a little bit of a longer game with a decent economic advantage, which we could actually see here. Yeah, just for sake of a longer game.
Yeah. Something that plays a big role in this map is the little choke right by the inside expansion on all the bases. That is the natural path that your units want to go up when attacking your opponent, and they'll always try to go up it, but if your units are caught there, it's such a bad position to be caught in, because your opponent will have the high ground. They'll have a perfect arc against your clumped up mass. You're not even able to retreat if you get far enough up the ramp. So there's something to always consider in all matchups, but especially PvP. Watch for a player that tries to go up that ramp, and watch if the other player can punish it, because even if you're down by 50 supply, you can turn the game around by catching your opponent at a bad angle on that little choke.
Yeah, exactly. It can be pretty brutal stuff. All the while we have both players laying down the cybernetics. Of course, we have range coming in from Astro. We also have a slightly later cybernetics core coming in from Locdog, so that means he's probably going to be, he is throwing down an extra zealot. Slightly bit of an interesting decision on this map maybe, because it's not very kind of pressure orientated, but we see what he chooses to do with those. They might be used for a little bit of a slightly later push in conjunction with his first goon. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. I'm personally a guy who likes to get at least one zealot when it's a reverse ramp map, just because I'm so fearful of Dragoon contains. In PvP, they can be they're very easy to set up and very hard to break. So if you don't have an early Zealot and your opponent's 2 goons happen to get to the top of the ramp before your 3 goons can get up there, you won't be able to break that without the Zealots to tank damage and get up the ramp for you. So I can understand that that perspective from locdog. Also going to make it a little bit easier to go for some pressure, if in fact that is what he wants to go for in a little bit. Yeah,
we do see a slightly more aggressive playstyle being favoured from Astro. Here we have a second gateway all being laid down, so he's going to be producing goons at quite a good rate. That does mean he'll have a little bit of a late robo, but it's definitely going to be DTs from the other side of the map. We have a second gateway happening now here as well. From locdog, and a third gateway as well. There we go. We do see him trying to take advantage of that little bit of a reverse ramp action. Also, the fact that we have kind of 2 ways to the opponent's natural, which favours the 3-gate style a little bit on this map. But this definitely sizing up to be interesting. What can be fascinating about 2-gate versus 3-gate is oftentimes we can see a pretty even goon count with the attacking versus the defending, because of course that difference. Which again, when you're crossing the map, you'll lose a little bit of time. There'll be an extra goon out at the other end waiting for you. So it still does rely on some pretty nice micro from whoever's attacking. And we'll see, in fact, if locdog is going to be up to that challenge.
I'm actually quite interested by locdog's build because he went 1-gate robo, then canceled the robo and instantly threw down 3 more gateways to get up to 4.
Yeah.
So... oh, he scouted 2-gate from Astro, and it looks like he really just wants to punish it. Now, 4-gate is going to be able to take advantage of the reverse ramp, and if Astro does not go for Reavers immediately and goes for Observers instead, locdog is certainly going to be able to get that contain up, and it's going to be just so hard for Astro to try to break it. Here comes Astro to delay the push a little bit, 4 goons versus 3 and 2 Zealots, but locdog obviously going to be able to produce guys much faster. In fact, with 4 gateways, he can't even produce out of all of them constantly. Eventually, he's going to have some of them not producing.
I would imagine that locdog is going to he's going to keep his Dragoon count a little bit secret at the moment. He is moving a fair number of Dragoons out to his natural, so this might actually clue up Astro as to exactly what's going on. Astro moving in with a good Dragoon count now. He might, in fact, at this point, suspect what is happening, getting a nice Dragoon snipe, but losing one of his own. And I think Astro would do very, very well to start pulling back right now and start preparing a defense. Oh, he loses another Dragoon for free. That's very bad times. Might actually sacrifice another one as well on the way home. No, it looks like he's going to get away with that. We do have another gateway going down at his main. We have an observatory going down as well, whereas it would probably be better to be throwing down a robo at this stage, because he should know that it's going to be a pretty Dragoon heavy play. He will be able to hold on for the time being, though, using the high ground to his advantage. Very significant. Oh, almost losing another Dragoon for free there. A lot of health going off that guy.
Locdog not falling into the trap of going up that ramp. He's going to go up and around over to this ramp, and still attacking up ramps, never a fun thing to do, but he's certainly going to have a lot easier time against this. Trying to get into position, only going to be able to get 1 Dragoon up the ramp before the engagement starts, so a lot of his Dragoons are on the low ground, but still has overwhelming numbers. The Zealot's now getting in there, doing some damage. It's going to force Astro to micro back. He now does not have the high ground, and he's almost going to trade, but, ooh, 2 forward pylons. Interesting from Astro. Those are going to just try to deflect some Dragoon shots, try to give him a little bit of an advantage here. And locdog does need to wait for a few more reinforcements now. Ooh, Astro trying to pick off that goon. No, it's not going to work.
Oh.
Stepping a little bit too far forward now, losing 3 of his own, and doesn't even get the snipe. Ooh, mistake from Astro there. And he's going to lose the pylon. This is not looking good for Astro at all, as locdog is in the position. He now is at the top of the ramp, and Astro forced to pull a whole lot of probe to try to defend. But locdog doesn't even need to push down if he doesn't want to. And that's the real problem here. Locdog can, if locdog wanted to try to restore his economy, he would be in perfect position to do so in third down expansion, or he could go for the kill, and Astro needs to try to defend both, and I don't know how he's going to be able to do it.
No, what I'm really surprised about is that robo didn't go down as soon as he saw the superior Dragoon count. He would have known that it wasn't a DT-based play. He would have known exactly, should have known exactly what was going on at that stage. I'm just really surprised he didn't opt for the Reaver super quick there as soon as he knew what was happening. But I guess it just, he's lacking a bit of presence of mind. Oh, it's still rallied. 1 Dragoon just goes out and lays down its life for the good of absolutely nothing. He needs to avoid that kind of silly error if he's going to get back into this game. We do finally have a robo. We don't see Reaver's shuttle speed, being researched yet. That would probably be a good idea. So he can just try and keep destroying the economy of locdog and keep himself in this match.
Yeah. Astro now throwing down the Citadel, might be trying to go for a Templar switch. Could be for Zealot leg speed, but if there are a lot of options that Astro could try that might work, there are no options that will certainly work. It's this just has to make you feel icky when you're in Astro's position, to just know that there is this big force. If you go Reavers, you're going to have a hard time getting vision up at the top of the ramp. If you go Speedlots, they're all going to get funneled through a choke. If you go Goons, most of them will miss because of high ground.
It's a horrible situation to be in. Still don't have a shuttle happening. We do have a Reaver up already. Interestingly, we do have the Templar Archives happening. I think it might have been a little bit better to go for a mixture of leg speed and shuttle speed. I think that would have been a nicer combo than this. But to each his own. I presume Astro has some sort of good plan for dealing with this. He does have an observer going into the base of Locdog, so he's going to see what's up.
It looks like Astro did make the correct decision. His Templar Archives is halfway done, and Locdog threw down a cannon in his main, but has no detections natural, no observers out in the field, not even a robo. So if Astro just going for the shot in the dark here for DTs, hoping that Locdog didn't get observers, and it looks like it's going to pay off for him as he builds 3 DTs immediately. Oh, queuing 2 up in 1 and none of the. He should probably
that's gonna be a miss
better, but even so, well, the DTs will come out and the DTs will be able to break this.
And seeing this Reaver just a second ago might throw Locdog off the scent just for a second longer. Not that it's that important at this stage. Trying to get a bit more vision up the ramp with those Zealots, landing some nice Scarab hits as well, weakening up that Goon force. And honestly, Locdog's force not looking in the best shape. That Reaver's wandering a little bit too far forward. Nice Scarab's being landed. Will he land another one right on all those Dragoons? No, he won't. Loosen the Reaver a little bit foolishly. That seemed incredibly unnecessary, but the DTs are out now, and they're going to be able to make pretty light work of this Protoss army, and Locdog is going to be forced to pull back. This could be an in for Astro with a good number of Dragoons. If only he still had that Reaver, he would be in a great position to go pushing all the way to his opponent's base now, and it seems so foolish that he threw that away, but he might catch so many Dragoons here on the ramp as they attempt to retreat, getting completely stuck behind those DTs. Locdog in complete disarray, and we do have a shuttle out now, loading up some Dragoons for some reason.
I think he's going to drop them on the high ground above the natural and just pretend that they're siege tanks, harass the probes a little bit, and just try to annoy Locdog a bit as he moves in with the rest of his army. Locdog has had time to throw down cannons, and he does have good Goon numbers, so he won't be able. So Astro won't actually be able to do any more damage here, not without the Reaver, as there is another Reaver, but it's just finishing up now. And Astro's going to try to respond by double expanding to his natural and to the mineral only. Locdog sending down just a couple Dragoons, and that should shut down at least one of these expansions. Astro now pulling back a couple Dragoons to deal with that. That's a very bold move from Astro, double expanding even though Locdog has more Goons than him. I guess he's just really counting on Locdog not being able to get that observer tech out very quickly. But the first observer is out now.
No, it's a nice move. I do like it. What he could also do to really capitalize on this is he could continue to produce Reavers. So if he ends up with like maybe 3 or 4 Reavers to defend, that is going to make life really pretty surprisingly difficult for Locdog to go and break any of those bases up high ground. We do finally have observers out, so they're going to be able to clean up those Dragoons probably pretty quickly. But as I was saying before, Reavers make it so hard to push up to any kind of high ground. So it might be a good little bit of a call for Astro at this point. We do see him continuing to produce them. A little bit of a drop going into the main now. We have 2 Zealots and 2 Dark Templars. There is a cannon in the mineral line, but still not making life too easy for Locdog. However, he will be able to clean this up. He does have observers already down and a good Dragoon count to help him deal with this.
Yep. Just a matter of when is the next observer getting here. Observer about 70% done, and the observer from the natural finally comes back. So not a whole lot of damage done by that drop from Astro, but Astro, even picking up the DTs and flying them out. That's cute.
Yeah, I think Astro feeling a little bit slow here. I think what he really ought to be doing right now is throwing down plenty of extra gateways. We do see him start to do exactly that, because of course once this third base kicks in properly and his economy really starts to ramp up, he needs to make sure he has already that facility in place to start pumping a load of units, because Locdog is not going to give him a minute's edgeways. Locdog is going to try and pile on the pressure just as soon as he can. He knows his army is big by comparison, whereas Astro is just going to be trying to hold on and make his economic advantage count.
Yeah, Astro took a risk in going for a double expansion and hoping locdog wouldn't be able to really punish him for it. And the longer we wait, the more likely it is that Astro can, he's going to be able to win the inevitable engagement for when locdog moves out. It's just a matter of when exactly is, it looks like now locdog is finally going to move out, and we'll see if Astro's been able to make enough stuff, has enough Reavers and Archons to defend against it. It's going to be close. That is so many Dragoons and Zealots compared to so few for Astro.
But I think that the Reaver is going to make a pretty big difference. I think that Archon's going to really help as well. The Archons and Zealots are going to form a nice block at the top of that high ground. He's bringing that extra Reaver over, I think, to help defend. And I would actually tip Astro to win this battle. I mean, I see why locdog is going to attack. I think he really needs to try and take advantage of his superior army count. He runs up here as Zealot leg speed kicks in. And will he be able to take advantage of this? Gets all the way up into the high ground. We could see one Reaver go down. No. Nice pick up there by Astro. And these Reavers are going to start being super effective right now. There are so many Dragoons caught in 2 minds. He needs to get those Reavers over there and land some big shots. But I think it's going to be okay right now for Astro. He will manage to hold him to this third. And we see the high ground advantage counting for so much. If we get those Reavers in, then it's going to be GG for this particular army at least. And those 2 Dragoons still surviving on the high ground behind locdog's expansion as well, going to continue to make life a little bit difficult. But that third base does hold with relatively little calamity.
I think that locdog made a bit of a mistake in micring that engagement. He kept his goons at a perfect position so that the entire extent of the battle he had to fight, he had to shoot uphill. With such a small army from Astro, I think that it might have been a viable option to just try to run more of his army up the ramp to not have to deal with that. If not, then just pull back with the goons so you don't have to constantly be shooting at Zealots while on that very large ramp. But either way, you were completely right. Astro going to be able to hold, and Reavers are very good in this matchup, and locdog not able to snipe them, so Astro can hold on to that base. Now Astro does have to play defensively, which means locdog is going to easily be able to set up his own third. So both players now on 3 bases, and Astro with a nice supply lead though. He has a much better probe saturation, and the army supplies are looking a lot more even than they did just before that engagement.
Yeah. And Astro is still using those super imbalanced Dragoons up on the high ground. They have 9 kills between the 2 of them, so they've definitely been a great investment. Locdog's cleverly used that time to get his third base up for himself as well. Did a little bit of economic damage with a sneaky Zealot getting into the third base of Astro, managing to grab itself 8 kills, but getting cleared up quite nicely. I would expect to see Astro move to take another expansion pretty soon, knowing that he probably has the defensive impetus here with a superior supply count. And those Dragoons still surviving. We see them on 10 kills between them now. That's some pretty extreme stuff.
Locdog now throwing down a cannon and that's going to be his permanent defense against the Dragoons from stepping forward and trying to snipe more probes. But that was a great decision by Astro, just flying out those true Dragoons. They have certainly paid for themselves a couple times over now. And most of those
piece of play.
Sorry?
No, I'm just remarking that it's a clever little piece of presence of mind from him.
Alright. So, now, to highlight what I was saying at the beginning of the game, now that locdog was not able to win at the beginning, Astro's going to be able to settle into exactly the type of game he wants to play. Make a very large army, do some good stuff with his harass. We've already seen the 2 goons on the high ground, which are finally being cleaned up by locdog. Even trying to do some fancy goon micro to not lose anymore. But Astro moving out again, this time with 2 High Templars, 2 Zealots in a shuttle. And we'll see how much damage this harass can do. He has to be very careful here. Uh-oh.
This could be bad. Oh, this could be really bad. Oh no, that's expensive. He can't afford to be losing that at this point. That harass could be so effective. If he's so set on harassing, why isn't he getting shuttle speed? Shuttle speed would have definitely saved his units there and would have already paid for its own investment. Really important upgrade here if you're going to go for a very harass-heavy game, which is pretty crucial at this stage of any PvP matchup. At the same time, we have both players preparing to lay down forts. And at this point, the supply difference has leveled itself out pretty nicely. I have a strong feeling that Astro didn't really take advantage of his position quite well enough, and that storm drop would have certainly put him back into a nice position. But as it is, both players left looking pretty even going into the late/mid game.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I see what Astro was trying to do. He wanted to get over that body of water so that his shuttles could get back onto that high ground to. So he could place some Templars there to storm. And he took the shortest path possible to get there, but locdog's army in a great position to just pick that off, and that is very unfortunate for Astro to get absolutely no damage out of such an expensive drop.
Yeah, crucially expensive. I mean, it's not a real game changer, but it just, if you make mistakes like that, they chip away at your army. They chip away at your ability to do any real damage. That's a lot of storm right there. That's potentially 4 storms right away lost in 1 shuttle, and it's quite a large mineral investment as well for a drop even one so small as that. But we do have Astro moving out with quite a nice army now. He has a shuttle still with 2 Reavers left in it, so that's going to really back him up pretty nicely, and those can make very, very light work of any zealots. And I would at this point give him the definite lead in the army. He has 166 supply to 147, so I think it would be pretty misguided for locdog to actually try and engage. At the same time, locdog has a nice shuttle flying over to the to the 4th base of Astro. He's going to run into some cannon resistance, so it's probably the best idea if he kind of searches around for a little bit for a good angle. But all the while, it looks like Astro is definitely gearing up to try and do a big push up here. Will he be able to make it up the high ground there? There is a good amount of storm in locdog's army, which can make some pretty ugly mincemeat of those Reavers at the very least. We're going to try and do some storm harassment now onto the main army, and we can see some nice storms being laid down here. Big storms getting laid down all over the army, but a little bit of a waste of those High Templar. Could have done a bit better.
Very nice micro from Astro to just carpet those storms out, but equally good micro from locdog to pull his army back immediately, making it so that he's managed to kill off a Templar and did not take too much damage. Locdog now going in for storm drops on the probes, and Astro not paying attention, going to lose a good number of them.
All of them.
All of that. Nope. 1 survivor.
Oh, 4th base for locdog. Looks like he might actually go down here. A good number of zealots running in, doing quite a lot of damage to the cannons, but the army from locdog should be able to wheel back round. However, this could leave the army crucially out of position for Astro to get in and do a bit of a backstab on that 3rd base, at which point the Reavers can do one hell of a lot of damage to that probe count, which is of course a highly saturated base. That's where most of his economy in terms of probe count is. The whole army of locdog going to deal with those zealots. I feel that's a little bit of an overkill, a little bit of an oversight.
Especially with Astro's army just parked right outside that 3rd. I'm not sure if Astro realizes the extent of that army move out, but if he does, he could really punish the out of position as get up onto that high ground. So locdog doesn't have it, but it doesn't seem like, yes, he's now going in for it. Locdog's army completely out of position. They're all going to have to funnel up a small ramp to get back there. He might not even try to bother. No, it looks like he's marching across the map. Is he going to turn around? It doesn't look like he is. Nice Reaver shot on the probes, trying to retreat, and this base is certainly going to fall. All the probes are going to die as well, and locdog does not care. He is going in for a huge attack of his own. We might have some trading action going on right now. Oh, it looks like locdog's army is slightly larger, but it does not have the crucial tech. However, tech does not kill off buildings as fast as normal units, so maybe this will be an advantage for locdog. He's going in, he's going to be able to take out the 3rd as well.
Yeah, I think at this point what Astro needs to do is he needs to cannon up like crazy as his 4th base. Although he hasn't really got the minerals to do so, he's still very short on probes. He hasn't managed to take out the 4th base for locdog, so the economy for Astro is going to be a little bit screwed. A good number of units coming in. Oh, nice storm going off on a lot of zealots, and those Reavers are going to be able to damage them quite nicely as well. And the whole army for locdog pulling back, a little bit misguided. I think he can definitely take on the army for Astro. We see 162 supply to 150, oddly in favour of Astro. While it seems like he has a smaller army, not quite sure where that's happening, doing a nice little bit of a backstab with some zealots as well, so he probably will be able to take out the 4th base this time. Locdog is going to have a very hard time saving it, and please Astro, for the good of Aya, target down that Nexus. It has to go, otherwise you're in some serious trouble in this game. Oh, nice storm drop going off at the 4th base of Astro as well, getting rid of a lot of probes once again. 14 kill High Templar in there, and we still see that Nexus not quite taken down. Astro should be able to finish that off though if he micros it down a little bit carefully. Will it go down? Oh!
Oh, 4 health on that Nexus. Oh, wow. And locdog, he didn't even do a storm drop. That was the Templars from last time that just never got cleaned up by Astro.
Oh, and he
came back to storm.
Classic error. Yeah, that's a really, really bad error. You see it happen quite a lot. Still no shuttle speed for Astro. Astro, please, if you're listening to me in the past, get shuttle speed. It will help you out no end. He's got Reavers, he's got High Templar. He could really be making an absolute mincemeat mess of locdog's entire economy right now. But he's not doing so. He needs to get some damage done.
Very interesting game. Both armies have essentially reset themselves back at their respective bases, and both players lost their mineral only.
Yeah.
Both players lost a lot at their 4th, but didn't actually lose the Nexus there both times. It's almost as if, in all that craziness, it almost worked out to the same position they were before that, where locdog is about behind by 30 supply. I guess he was only behind by 20 before, but still, essentially, same position.
I would very much endorse some stuff from Astro. He just needs to try and pick off that Nexus. That would be a fantastic little bit of an advantage for him. He just needs to drop some stuff in there, get rid of that Nexus, just sacrifice a little bit of something, because that is an uncountable value to Locdog. Of course, we see the natural pretty low on minerals. Doesn't have a huge number of patches anyway. We see no mineral only. And that would definitely put Astro in a great position to take this game. But all the while, the armies look like they're going to meet in the middle. We have a lot of Archons out on the field for Astro, which I think would definitely give him the advantage. He's very, very bunched together, though. If Locdog sees this, he could be able to get some nice storms. But some nice scarabs being landed, and it looks like, indeed, Astro is in a very nice position to take this. There are a load of DTs coming in, but there are plenty of observers in the mix as well to get those cleared up. And Locdog, in a lot of trouble, going to have a hard time taking down all those Archons, especially.
Yeah. Astro now extending the supply lead to 40, and even more important than the 40 supply lead is just look at that army composition. That great mix of Dragoons and Zealots and Archons and Reavers and High Templar and Dark Templar is better than Locdog's composition, which is just Goons and Zealots for the most part. Going in for an attack now. Some good storms going down from the High Templar that are very good storms, in fact, going down from the High Templars that are there, but not going to be enough to take out all of that army. And once again, Locdog's going to ignore it. He's just moving his army down to try to take out Astro's force. And we're gonna trade again.
I don't think this is a very good idea for Astro. I mean, I think he will probably still win anyway, but honestly, he could have taken out this army for Locdog, and there's only a certain amount of time it could have run away for. He would have been able to eventually corner it and take out at least the bulk of what he had left standing on the map, but it looks like he is going to split up his army and try it and deal with it. Again, maybe not the smartest idea. Just try and deal with it all in a clump. He's pretty much destroyed the entire infrastructure for Locdog at this stage. Anyway, there's very few minerals left mining on the map for him as well. He should just drop some stuff over onto that Nexus, get rid of it, and get back to defend the rest of his economy.
Well, the fourth going to go down for Astro. Locdog's natural already lost, and Locdog's main going to go down as well. So Locdog actually trying to expand over to the neutral main. We'll have to see what... He still does have a very big army, and Astro's army is completely out of position to defend and attack on the natural. If Locdog was to go for it, I think that's the only option he has in this game right now. He's got to just send everything at Astro's natural and hope that he can kill it off. Ooh, he doesn't have observers, though, and he's going to lose his... Oh, he does have an observer now. Okay. The DTs aren't going to be able to kill everything. Still losing the rest of his tech and his main. Slowly but surely, all of it's going away.
Yeah, I think this is going to be called a win for Astro pretty soon. I mean, Locdog's army is still kind of okay. He's got a decent army, but there's no way it can compete with what Astro has at the moment. He has so many gas units. He's got a lovely number of Archons out, which is just able to tear those Zealots to pieces. We also see 3-2 upgrades for Astro. This is 3-0 for Locdog, which is going to be a pretty major deciding factor in any battles that will ensue. And we do finally have Reavers dropping in to snipe out that Nexus, which will absolutely call it a day for poor Locdog. Thank you, Astro, for finally getting that done. And yeah, Locdog absolutely on life support.
Does not even have enough money to rebuild the Nexus, but he did start one down at the other main, so he can mine minerals. He's not technically out of it, but he's out of it realistically.
Yeah, he's pretty much screwed. Even if Astro doesn't bother to take any more bases, he is mining some minerals. He does have a superior army. Eventually, it will be called his game. And I thought, is it just me, or is there some green on the minimap in where the fourth used to be for Locdog?
No.
I see green on the minimap at the top of that base. It's like there's something being dropped in, and that keeps on confusing me. Oh well. Not to worry. Sort of weird little bug, I guess.
Alright.
Crazy probe count on just 1 or 2 mineral patches at Locdog's only mining base. But he has no infrastructure left, he has no tech. He's basically starting from square one, except with a lot more probes and cannons to hide behind. But all Astro needs to do is swing around and pincer this army, and he'll be able to clean it up pretty nicely. Still no shuttle speed, but the time for that is gone. It's going to be pretty simple to clean this one up for good old Astro.
Yep. Locdog's going to have to do something miraculous because he simultaneously needs to defend his one last base, yet at the same time run away from Astro's superior army. And it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to do both of those things. Now we're sending all of his units back into the remnants of Astro's fourth, just trying to hide at the top of the ramp. And Astro can contain it, or he could go and actually take out Locdog's base. He's sending in a Reaver to harass. There are not cannons to defend. The Reaver's not even going to bother to shoot at the probes.
Yeah, it's just going to have a bit of a crack at that pylon for some reason because it hates pylons. He's just going to dump that. DT's going to pop out, maybe take care of it. Nope, the Reaver manages to be picked up and moved away. Is there even a Templar Archives there? Nope, don't know where that DT came from. Okay, so basically what we have now is locdog sitting on one kind of mining base, surviving for a bit, with a sort of army trapped far out on the map. Not looking too good for him, I have to say.
When doing sound test, it was a little bit of an omen we had. The random replay I picked was a game of Lockdogs versus Alfio on this map, where he also completely delayed the inevitable by cannoning up one base very hard. So
maybe it's a trait of his, I don't know. But Astro not willing to wait for Locdog to kill his own Nexus, getting in there, doing a little bit of zealot harass and getting rid of it himself. And basically he just has to finish off that army now, and I'm sure that at that point Locdog will be on his way out.
It's fine, man. He still has 416 minerals. He can build another Nexus. It's all going to be good.
Doing well. He's doing well. Oh, a storm drop, just for fun. Look at that, he's got no Nexus on the map to take any of the minerals to, but a storm drop is still deemed necessary for what little infrastructure there is left for Locdog. GG, and Astro takes it down.
Congratulations to Astro. He will be qualifying for the round of 32 of the ISL. Locdog will be playing in the final game and still has a shot to get in.
Yeah.
Whoa. Why are lots of people sending me things?
No one's sending me anything.
Nope. Bacher, you sent me something in the wrong window. Nice. Alright. So, the next game will be eonzerg versus Flip. On the loser side, loser eliminated, winner goes on to play Lockdog.
Cool.
Wow. That is 4 in a row.
4 in a row.
That is,
nice.
I'm so good at making games on Fighting Spirit. It's ridiculous.
You should go pro.
I know, man. Somebody needs to start a making games on Fighting Spirit league. I got that. Like, not even a contest.
Alright, cool. I guess we're pretty much ready to go. At this stage, we're doing nice. We have 240 people watching and listening to us talk, which is all part of the fun. I'd like to thank our main sponsor once again, which is Altitude Game. And if you head on over to altitudeisl.net, you can see info for that. You can see info for all the groups and whatnot that are being played today, or indeed ever. And that is your place for all things ISL.
The interviews from the invites are up. I don't think all of them were quite up the last time we casted. So if you haven't checked out those 4 interviews, Project, Michael, Zeke, and Ace, yeah, it'd be a good opportunity to check that out. And that's where you go to see it, altitudeisl.net. But yeah, let's start the game. eonzerg versus Flip, ZVZ on Aztec.
Okay, so on the bottom right hand side of the map we have Flip coming in as the I'm gonna call it white Zerg. And at the top of the map we have eonzerg coming in as the blue Zerg. And to my terrible shame, I'm not a huge ZVZ fan or expert, so I'm kind of relying on your expertise a little bit during this game.
Oh yeah, man, I play ZVZ all the time. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Flip is regarded by a lot of high-ranking people as one of the best foreign ZVZ players out there. It is his specialty. So hopefully we get to see a glimpse of that. Unfortunately, the only other ZVZ I've seen of him recently is him versus Koget in the qualifiers, which was a series. That's all I can say. It was a series.
Yeah.
So, anyway, still waiting for opening builds to be revealed.
Yeah.
Ooh, actually, flip with the overgas. All right, busting out the unorthodox builds today. Overgas, one of the rarer of ZVZ builds. Obviously, overgas is going to get you that gas faster, so it's going to be used for getting Mutalisks out pretty much as fast as you could get Mutalisks out. And it's going to be slightly it's going to be slightly more economical than going 9-pool, but it does sacrifice a lot of lings.
Okay. Well, most of what I say in ZVZ is pretty much pure conjecture, because really not my strong point, but I guess this doesn't have too much of an effect on his Ling speed timing, because as we can see, he's already got the 100 gas, and the spawning pool is not even really nearly done yet, so I'm assuming it is pretty much purely a Muta-orientated thing. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you'll still be able to get Ling speed, so you can sort of match numbers with your opponent's Lings. But as soon as the spawning pool finishes, you have enough gas for both of them to start. As we can see, the layer's on the way and speed is on the way. So you're just not delaying anything. You're still getting everything out as fast as possible. What you're sacrificing is early Zerglings. And eonzerg went for an overpool, which is also not exactly conventional ZVZ. It's normally 9-pool, 9-hatch, 9-pool, 12-hatch, 12-pool. So, eonzerg's going to have faster Lings out, and he can get more Lings out, especially with that Expo going down. We'll see if Flip can deal with it. Now, admittedly, I'm not too up with my overgas strategies, but I'm pretty sure a common follow-up with the overgas is to get an in-base hatchery. Just because you have a good enough economy to be producing a bit more than just Mutalisks off of one base, you want to be able to get some of those Zerglings out a little bit later anyway. We'll have to see if Flip does throw that down, but meanwhile, eonzerg's Lings are coming in, and Flip's Lings are not in a position to stop them. They might have been trying to do a sneak attack, but no, it doesn't look like they're trying... Oh, I see what he's trying to do. He was going to try to sandwich eonzerg's Lings by trapping them at the ramp and then coming in from behind. Trying to be a little bit tricky there, but it didn't quite pay off for him. Still does manage to kill off a couple Lings and sends eonzerg retreating. eonzerg does have more Lings back at his base and is going to... and is continuing to make more. His lair is getting pretty close to done, while Flip's Spire is already 35% done.
Yeah, of course, every last Ling is much more important in ZVZ than in any other matchup. In this matchup, they are no longer free because, of course, there is that interesting, crucial extra resource. And I know I say crucial a lot, but I love that word. It just feels great to say it, and it really expresses how I feel about the importance of specific things. Every lava is important. You don't have that many before you have to go on up to Mutalisks, at which point they become of absolute importance to you. So we do have the Spire almost done. For Flip, and we still... Do we have a Spire? Yes, we do now have a Spire happening up at the top of the map for eonzerg. That's going to be a little bit late, so this is going to give Flip just a little bit of advantage, and we'll see how he decides to remake use of it.
eonzerg's pulling back with his overlords. He did not actually scout Flip's main. I really hope he's familiar with this, and he can respond properly, because it doesn't look like he's going to get his Spire up in time to defend against the fast Mutalisks. He might have misdiagnosed this build, as it would be a quite difficult build to just figure out based on Zergling timing numbers. Well, we'll see. Mutalisks are almost done for Flip. eonzerg really needs to throw down the evolution chamber soon, but he won't know that he needs to throw it down. Like, he needed to have thrown it down at this point.
He doesn't look very keen on doing so at all. He's just going to have to... maybe he's going to go for Scourge first, because of course we already have Mutalisks pretty much camped over his stuff. He's running his Lings back, maybe to try and do a little bit of distraction, maybe to protect against any kind of run-by, but all the while Flip is in there, and he's going to start taking out drones, which are absolutely important in this situation. We do have Scourge coming out immediately for eonzerg, but they're a little bit late. He's already lost 2 drones. He's not mining gas, that is natural. He's going for a big counter-attack with his Lings, so his Lings make the way across the map. We need to see a better defensive position for Flip. His Lings are in somewhat of a disarray. Will he be able to get there? No, he should have been blocking the rope. Why wasn't he blocking the rope? He should be prepared for this kind of thing. We do have the Mutalisks running back home just as quickly as possible. laying down an extractor, which isn't going to be lasting very long at all. The Mutalisk coming in now should be able to help these Lings to clean it up. That is a big Zergling advantage. A couple going in for the run by, and he needs to be good with his multitasking here. He needs to make sure he doesn't lose too many drones to this, or this could be a pretty major blow to his economy and to the game as a whole.
eonzerg is going to be able to snipe the hatchery, and these Lings are buying enough time for him to get up the type of anti-air defense he needs. This was a very good attack from Flip coming down, against Flip coming down. If Flip had been able to defend it a little bit better, maybe not. Oh, Scourge hits. Oh, Flip taking 2 of those, 2 out of those 5 Scourge hits, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a defining trait of Flip versus Koget. Flip really did not do well with his Mutalisk versus Scourge micro at all. And for his sake, he's really going to need to improve. He does have very nice Mutalisk numbers in... Oh, where are the Mutalisks? There they are. eonzerg's Mutalisk now coming back. I was clicking these, but they're all Zerglings coming out, not Scourge. So Flip does have the advantage here. Only a couple Scourge out for eonzerg. He's going to need a few more. And see how well Flip he can use these Mutalisks. He's going to fall farther and farther behind. His natural was later than eonzerg's anyway, and now it's not even there at all. Here he comes, going in for some drone kills. Ooh, eonzerg's Mutalisk not quite in the right position. Now coming in with the Scourge and the Mutalisk, trying to chase him away. Oh, misses with the Scourge coming. He had a great opportunity to do some damage here, and he is not eonzerg's not Scourge dodging at all. He took a lot of hits. Now forced to back off. Still has 4 Scourge though. Meanwhile, Ling's in the base trying to focus down the sunken colony, and they're not going to quite get it. No. Still with 50 health left. Mutalisks are still trying to do damage though, microing down. They're taking some Scourge hits, but doing an okay job. Otherwise, a lot more Scourge coming out. But eonzerg's not using them. He needs to send the Scourge in to help out his Mutalisk. I don't think he actually... It's hard to tell who has Mutalisk advantage at this point. Oh, sniping more drones. Flip is doing a very good job of at least killing off a lot of drones with these Mutalisks.
Yeah. At the very least, I think Eon feels like he's behind in the Mutalisk count. Whether he is or not, I'm not sure. It's always so difficult to tell, but I think he perceives himself to be behind. He wasn't very keen to engage there at all. We have a couple of Scourge coming in for Flip to support that Mutalisk army, maybe to try and force eonzerg to micro a little bit, managing to snipe out a couple more drones, and that's important because currently we have only 3 drones mining minerals for eonzerg, whilst at the other end of things we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 idle drone for Flip. But even still, that manages to put him ahead in economy. And what just happened to all of Flip's Mutalisks? Okay, there's a couple of Zerglings in the main, but all Flip's Mutalisks seems to have gone down.
Flip tried to micro his Mutalisk back, but he actually got caught in the corner of the map and ate a whole mess of Scourge hits and then Mutalisk hits as he tried to run away. Only one of them survived. Couples up with another one, so he has only 2 Mutalisks out on the field and no anti-air defense. If if eonzerg just goes and attacks with his much larger Mutalisk force, he could kill off all the drones immediately and essentially win the game. But it looks like he's going to play defensively and try to establish his economy. I don't think he quite realizes how little Flip has at this point.
Yeah, flying a couple of Scourge over to the other side of the map, managing to sack one of them on an Overlord. That would have been some useful scouting information if it had managed to make it. eonzerg doing a little bit of a dodgy job protecting his drones. Flip taking more Mutalisk hits, taking more Scourge hits. Looks like he slightly abandoned his Mutalisk there. A couple of Scourge come in. Will he be able to grab a Mutalisk? They do manage to land and takes out 1 Mutalisk for his troubles, but Flip unable to manage a little bit of micro against that Scourge, and does lose another of his very meager Mutalisk count, producing them at a rate of about 1 Mutalisk every half a minute or so, which really isn't quick enough. He's on 17 supply versus 24, in so much trouble, even a base behind. I think that Flip's time in this game is going to be pretty limited.
Yep. eonzerg, the supply was even for quite a while there, but eonzerg has managed to essentially equalize it. Flip trying to micro for his life, 2 Mutalisks versus 2 Scourge, but here comes eonzerg's Mutalisks in to pick them off, and that, oh man, there have been so many Scourge hits this game. Going to lose that last Mutalisk. It's 25 supply compared to only 13. And Flip's throwing out a hatchery? Really?
No.
Are you really actually using all your larvae at this point? I think you might have GG. And Flip is eliminated. 0-2 from his group. eonzerg will go on for a rematch versus Desakwe. And we'll see if he can get a little bit better of a result. This time on Heartbreak Ridge. And anything can happen on Heartbreak Ridge.
Yeah, it's a cool map. Cool map. I think you really called that game pretty nicely, actually. You had a very nice handle on Flip's weaknesses, and you were indeed correct when he said that it was his micro against Scourge which could let him down. So many Scourge hits just landed the whole time.
5.
Yeah, it was pretty much the death of him.
I hosted the map 5 times in a row. Oh, I'm so good at it. Man, it's getting to the point that I'm actually going to have to get a sticky and put it on my monitor to remind myself to actually pick a replay instead of hosting Fighting Spirit. Man, I'm so professional.
Okay. I think I mixed the names up there. Sorry, guys, to anyone who are confused. It's very easy to do when you're talking all the time. I apologize.
All right. So, yeah, that just looks like, to me, the way Flip plays just looks like a sign of a rusty player. Definitely has the fundamentals down, but just has not been. He didn't play 20 ZVZs in a row to really get that Mutalisk rhythm back.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But, oh well, he is out, and eonzerg has a chance to get in. Needs to play one game versus Locdog, aka Desakwe. Let's start it.
Okay, here it is. Spawning it in the left-hand side of the map is Locdog, and on the right-hand side of the map is going to be eonzerg coming in as the teal Zerg. Now, this game is, of course, last chance for both these players in this tournament. Whoever wins this will be going through to the next stage, and no questions asked. So they're really going to be pulling out all the stops here. I expect to see some interesting GG timing, perhaps, but anything that happens in between there is pretty much anyone's guess. Any thoughts for this map? Will we see some crazy drone mining out of the back? Will we see some weird, misguided cannon rushes? What do you reckon?
eonzerg does love early Hydralisk pressure, and this map does have some opportunities for that. But personally, what I am most intrigued by and most hoping for is that this is a really good map for recalls. Really nice map for recalls. So I'm hoping that this will not be a game that is ended very quickly, and we will at least get back to that stage. Hopefully eonzerg can deal with it a little bit better, can learn from his mistakes. But I'm excited for this game.
Yeah, me too. I'm always a fan of PvZ. It's got to be one of my favourite matchups. Just see so much exciting stuff happen. And there are really a lot of options open to these guys. We do see a drone heading across, maybe slightly... I was going to say concealed, but on second thought, it's probably just making sure that there's no kind of cheesy stuff going on as the probe heads on into the Zerg space as well. We do have a bit of a gas trick going down to enable him to get that extra drone out a little bit early. Spawning pool's coming in, but we're going to see no such early Zerging speed or anything. It's going to be pretty chilled out, but it seems my first instinct was right. It was a concealed drone, and he is going to do a little bit of mining out trickery. And this is, of course, the problem with any backdoor maps. They do favour the Zerg in this particular aspect. The Protoss has to be super, super careful and has to be very wise with his cannon and gateway placement and whatnot, just to make sure that he's not too vulnerable to this. If he were to lay down a second cannon kind of in the natural mineral line, it would probably spare him from a whole lot of trouble, which he's going to be heading into here.
This already looks like quite the odd wall. From Locdog. Well, okay, no, if you put the gateway up here, and it'll be tight between the geyser and the forge until he builds the assimilator. So that'll still work versus Zerglings. And then tight between the forge and a gateway placed here, then a little opening at top. Okay. It looks a little bit weird, but it's still going to be a good wall for Locdog. But as you pointed out earlier, the wall isn't really going to be the big issue here. The issue is the fact that he has not seen this drone mining out the minerals, and it continues to work its way through them.
Yeah, and this wall is completely not geared towards that. We can see that this cannon on the top might just be able to hit the Zerglings as they're going in, but honestly, it's not going to be the best. He would do well to start scouting that drone out right now so he can start preparing something against this, because otherwise he's going to be landed in a world of pain very, very quickly. And I'm surprised to see a player of this caliber not being more proactive with his scouting up behind his mineral line. He knows the dangers, he knows what kind of thing can happen, and he should be absolutely ready to play against this kind of stuff.
So, the minerals have been mined out, and the Lings are now going to be sneaking in the back. Locdog went for the latest gateway possible, gateway after 2 cannons and the Nexus. So the gateway is just starting now. The Zealot's not going to be out for a long time, and he still does not know about these Lings. Oh, he now sends the probe up, and he just took a dump in his pants.
What a turn of phrase. But yeah, I think that pretty much accurately describes what he's going to do. Nice micro pulling the probes, and a really, really good job of blocking off with that one probe. Absolutely beautiful job there. It's some really clutch micro, managing to make sure not too many links get in, and he can probably deal with this quite efficiently. But really, really great damage control with just one single probe microing around, trying to do what he can.
Exactly.
Oh, almost another probe here. Did he lose it?
Very impressed by, very impressed by locdog there. He should not have killed any of those Zerglings moving in, but just that one probe delayed the other 3 enough that the rest of the probes could get in there, and only 3 Zerglings in the base compared to 6. And 3 is manageable, 6 impossible to deal with. There's a cannon going down, the Zerglings are going to try to focus it down, but loses all of them to probes. He only managed to get 1 probe kill.
Yeah, I think the most important thing to notice there was the loss of mining time, but even then, I really don't think it paid for itself. Even just that drone by itself going and mining out those minerals so early on, costing a lot in terms of economy, and we do now see him turning to a bit of a desperate option. He's going to be going for a Hydro Burst. Of course, at this point, it'll be incredibly easy for locdog to go and scout this. He is sending out his Zealots at this point. Are we seeing any more Zerglings coming out? We see 2 Zerglings coming out. He's going to need more than that if he's going to deny the scout, but that Zealot is showing good promise of breaking this entire game wide open.
He did see the Zealot move out, at least with the Overlord. So, the question is there anything he can do to stop that Zealot from coming in? I do not think so. So, yeah, this is the type of Hydralisk play that eonzerg likes, and we'll have to see whether it can break locdog. And ooh, locdog's actually not going to immediately scout in the natural, going to scout for the 3rd first. Does not see it there. Now heading back down. He should certainly be expecting something aggressive. Even sending out an additional probe through the middle?
Yeah. Well, maybe the Zealot's going to kind of distract any defenses at the front whilst the probe then sneaks in past whatever is defending, whether it be Stunken or a set of Zerglings. I think that might be what we're seeing, but it looks a little bit misguided, and the probe does eventually get headed off. Will he be able to manage around? He's microing, he almost gets in and he almost manages to see those Hydras. He could yet manage to see them. Probe's just living life on the edge right now. The Zerglings doing best they can to deny the scouting. I'm surprised that Zealot's headed off so early, but just checking out the hidden expansions is a good idea at this stage. If you were to scout those Hydralisks, I think eonzerg must know this at this stage. It is going to be game over. And the probe...
Oh, Hydralisk got a shot off. The probe certainly sees the Hydralisk now. Tasakwe should have already been suspecting Hydralisk based on the fact that there was no expansion, and not even a hidden expansion, and he is throwing down 2 gateways now. So he will have 2 cannons down. So he will have 4 cannons down by the time the Hydralisk get there. And this is not looking good for eonzerg. Oh, but he's going to go around the back instead. The minerals are still mined out, and there are no cannons to defend the back of this. Now sending up a Zealot, a couple Zealots. Ooh, no. Changing direction, now heading into the front. He's going to try to snipe a couple of the forward cannons, not even going for the gateway, not bothering with that, just going in for the quickest attack possible. There are no Zealots here to help out, but 4 cannons are a lot at this point, and it looks like eonzerg's going to back off a little bit, try to pick off some probes.
Yeah, I think that's entirely necessary. You can try and get rid of this gateway, try and make this front door open a little bit wider for him. He is sending more Hydras in pretty much as fast as possible. We saw a nice bit of Zealot positioning, allowing him to drill probes and distract those Hydras just a little bit. And that Zealot's going to make its way and possibly catch a couple of drone kills and distract any reinforcements on the way. We are seeing eonzerg able to fully produce off his 3 hatcheries now. He has that ideal drone saturation which will allow him to do just that. And he's keeping on making more Hydras, keeping on sending them to the front of the base. We're going to see no +1 for locdog. And if I were him right now, I would be at the very least considering more cannons. He is throwing down more cannons.
There is 1 pylon powering all of these cannons.
Oh!
But eonzerg's not going for it. If he was to snipe that pylon, it would be game over. There's no way locdog could hold it off. Will eonzerg realize that one pylon is powering 8 cannons? 7 cannons.
Yeah, and the pylon, it's not even in a good position. It's way
I
forward.
know.
You can probably pick that off without any kind of calamity whatsoever. Oh, but he continues to go in and attack the cannons. Oh, but he might be trying to attack those cannons so he can get 3 shots on the pylon. Will he be able to see it?
He's now shooting at it. It is slowly being whittled down. There is another pylon being thrown down, but I think that pylon only powers 1 cannon.
Just 1, yeah, just 1.
And throwing down 2 more cannons.
Why? Why isn't he throwing down the pylon?
Oh, locdog. That's not good. Okay, there's another pylon.
Finally, but it's not going to be
the pylon's going to go down before the cannons. He has a great opportunity here. He needs to attack now. He needs to go in now. There's no point of being cautious. He can kill everything. He kill everything. He's focusing down the only power cannon. There are no more power cannons. All the probes are going down. He's focusing down the cannons as they warp in. The pylon just finishing out now, but all the Hydralisks are in great position. eonzerg's done it. eonzerg got it because locdog with one pylon. Oh, all the cannons are dead. The Hydralisks are streaming in, and locdog has nothing. Locdog has nothing to defend but 14 probes, and they will fall very quickly.
What a terrible calamity for locdog. GG. What a terrible calamity for locdog. What an unnecessary thing to allow to happen.
I predicted eonzerg would be the upset guy from this group. I did not think it would be like that. I certainly did not expect it to be like that.
Oh my god. Oh, I can't even believe what I just saw. And it's the way it slowly dawned on eonzerg what was happening, and he had a Hydralisk positioned on hold position. It was like, yeah, I can have a go at this pylon. And then he was kind of like, wait, that's the pylon, that's what I need to do. And then suddenly he just went for it. It was all over for locdog in a matter of seconds. And I can't believe he didn't see it earlier.
Well, eonzerg with, excuse me, eonzerg with Astro will be moving on into the next round of the ISL. Unfortunately, Flip and locdog have been eliminated.
Yeah.
So, we need a moment to catch our breath after that. I'm gonna play the Altitude ISL commercial. Don't go away. And we are back. Group 6 on the way. Defi, Kashu, Pike, and Denot. But I have some bad news, Elegant.
I hate that.
We have one walkover in this group. And it is Denot.
Oh,
Denot was a no-show.
Pain.
Denot.
The pain.
He is the Sasquatch of Forum Brood War. I have heard so many legends about him, yet I never get to see him. I am so sad.
Yeah.
But we must continue.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, what a disappointment. Yeah, we must go on.
So, so we have Defi, Kashu, and Pike. Defi versus Kashu. Winner goes on to play Pike. Loser will go on to play the loser of Pike and the winner. 3 games in this group. So. Hey, I remembered. So proud of myself.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so good.
Top form.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay. So, I have been told that in every one of Kashu's games today, he specifically picked Zerg. He is not random in any of these. So, keep that in mind. The opponent will be knowing what race he's playing. It's not that he's randomly guessing. That's an important thing to note when playing a player such as Kashu. But here we go. Defi versus kashu, first game of group number 6.
Indeed, and this is going to be a good one. Two very well-respected players. It seems we have a little bit of observation going on. We have Plumum chilling at the top right-hand corner. Please feel free to ignore him. He should be destroying his SCVs any minute now. We have in the top left-hand corner spawning in as the blue Zerg, ISL3 kashu. And in the bottom right-hand corner spawning in as the white Protoss, we have ISL3 defi. I've always wondered how to say that, whether it's defi or defi, but I suppose we're just going to say defi for now.
I'm going to say defi until somebody corrects me.
Okay, we'll both live under the same assumption.
That's how I pronounce everybody's name. Just
Plus read.
Yeah. All right. So defi versus kashu. I'm excited to see both of these players. Defi had the very clutch performance in Gambit Cup playoffs. Gag, who was supposed to be the 6th player from Reps, was unable to show. So Defi had to step in with no practice and managed to get the win for the team and actually got the upset of Reps over LRM. And on the other hand, we have kashu, who I've heard a lot of good things about, in that he has been practicing pretty hard to get back in form for ISL. And without painting myself with too much of the biased brush, kashu was half of the reason I followed ISL 2. I really liked kashu in ISL 2, so I'm glad he's back. I hope he does well, and that he doesn't fall out very quickly.
No, I hope the same. Kashu's been a nice competitor who we've seen for some time now. He's been consistently putting in good effort and playing good games. So yeah, I also hope that he's going to do well. But Defi, yeah, of course, also a very, very good player. So we should see both of them try and bring it out to the absolute max right here. And we have some nice scouting going on. The probe heading up to the top left-hand corner, sending out the probe to the top right-hand corner as well. But surely he'll realise his error soon enough and head that back home to get it back money on the minerals. Or maybe he's just kind of hiding that just in case he needs to scout for Hydra Bursts and such like. Not sure.
Maybe he wants to rack up his probe kills against SCVs so he can brag to all his probe buddies.
Oh yeah, maybe that's possible.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to do exactly what you described. It seems like he wants to hide the probe over in this corner. Unfortunately going to be seen by an Overlord.
Yeah.
Well, that was close. Not quite sure if kashu saw that.
I think it might have done, but either way, it seems like, yeah, that's pretty much just a hidden probe. He wants to make absolutely sure from the very beginning that he's not getting caught by any rubbish. No cheesing, no messing around. He wants to be fully in the know here, which is a very good thing to be. We saw some scouting calamities happening in last game for poor locdog as he got knocked out by eonzerg. But no such thing this game. Defi's going to be right on the ball from start to finish. We do have the Nexus being laid down already as well, behind 2 cannons, which is quite an interesting choice. That's a little bit of an economic issue for him, as we see only 2 Zerglings being made right away for kashu, and a relatively early hatchery, with a second hatchery on the way up already, putting kashu in a decent position to begin with.
Kashu building his 3rd hatchery not at a base but at his natural, not even at the mineral only, which is a very safe mineral only if you want to go for some kind of aggression, but it looks like kashu going to be even more aggressive than that. Still doesn't have a gas yet. Whoa, four hatcheries off of 2 bases before gas? What is this?
That's got to be a huge mass ling attack, sure.
Yeah.
Or maybe not, maybe...
You have to assume mass lings, but he doesn't even have gas. An extractor started yet, so speed is going to be pretty late. So this must be like a very late speedling bust, like 3 control
I would think
groups
it's
worth?
Probably Hydralisks.
Hydralisk?
At this point, yeah, it just doesn't feel very Zergling-y. You know, this is going to allow him to hatch a pretty good number of drones and get a big economy behind him, and then he should be pretty strong going into mid-game with some really, really big Hydra Burst stuff. But will he be scouted? There is a probe doing his running around thing on the map, and there is one Zergling blocking one of the bridges back into the back towards the main, but he's going to need a second one to really deny the scouting for the probe, repositioning it around just a little bit. But if this gets scouted, it'll be very, very interesting to see exactly what Defi decides to do about this. Certainly not a common play by any means. We have another hatchery being laid down at the 3rd base, so presumably he's going to pump a lot of drones until he gets up to whatever tech he's going for. I would imagine Hydra tech at this point.
Yes, with that 5th hatchery, it's almost certainly Hydralisks. And the drone does come in. He does see the 2 hatcheries at the front, so Defi knows that something very aggressive is going to happen. It's just a matter of diagnosing exactly what kind of aggression he's looking for and having an appropriate response for it. Meanwhile, nothing too spectacular at Defi's base yet. Cybercore pretty close. Citadel should be started relatively soon, +1 on the way.
Yeah, don't see any kind of panic cannons going down, which is exactly what we would expect from a good player. He knows roughly when this attack time is going to come. We see a lair being laid down. We do see a Hydralisk den behind the natural mineral line. And yeah, I think he's just using this to pump large numbers of drones to get his economy in nice shape going into the mid-game. And then he's going to go into moderately early Hydralisks, and maybe just going on to a little bit of a late Spire as well. But it's not too crazy, actually, looking at the face of it.
Yeah. I'm curious what he's going to use the lair for, because there's really 2 options. Either he's going to use it for lurkers, which is looking like the more unlikely option as that second gas is later and later and later, or he's getting the lair for Overlord speed, so that he has a chance against DT Corsair play.
Yeah. Well, it could be a good call, you know. It could work quite nicely, but of course with a good Hydra count out on the map, he should be able to defend the Corsairs at least his natural pretty easily. Might want to invest in Spore Colony tech as well, but again, not hugely expensive, especially since he's probably going to have an Evolution Chamber already for the sake of his big Hydra army.
It is in fact going to be for Lurkers, as the Lurker upgrade has started, but Lurkers off of the second gas now just finishing up. It's still a very late second gas for Lurkers. So
yeah, incredibly.
I'm interested to see exactly how many Lurkers he does incorporate into his army. Certainly it's going to be a mix between Hydralisks and Lurkers, but I'm interested to see what the ratio is going to be.
Yeah. I pretty much have a reputation for doing this. I say one thing, and then as soon as I say that, the player changes his mind and does a thing. I think my game timing is off by like 10 seconds, so I think something's not happening right at the last moment when it can happen, and then of course it does, which is deeply disappointing for me.
Yes.
But it's alright.
Yes, the casters are never wrong. The players just change their minds. It's important for all the viewers to understand.
No, absolutely. It looks like we are going to see, and if I was wrong on this one, I'd be absolutely shocked. We are going to see some +1 Speed Zealots attack coming in very, very soon. We've got a good number of Speed Zealots out already. We've got a good number of gateways with which to reinforce that. Could also be in conjunction with an Archon or 2. We already have 2 High Templar warping in. We have 1 Dark Templar coming in as well as the Speed Zealots begin to push out the map just before +1 finishes. That'll be done any second now. That probe coming in useful, scouting the hatchery at the top, but that is a way misplaced hatchery. That's some really very strange placement indeed. Odd way to deal with a scouting probe. A good number of Zealots going to get up there though and should be able to deal with that hatchery, and sensibly he cancels that hatchery, laying it down again in a decent position at least.
That's nice. Zealots coming in. Okay. So, lots of Zealots coming in, and there's a good number of Speedlings here, but no other defense, and those +1 Zealots just chew through Zerglings so quickly. Now the Lurkers finally get there, but it's after all of the Zerglings have already died, and the Zealots can just run away from 2 Lurkers.
Yeah, if he was really clever, what he would be doing right now is he's going to try and pick off those Lurkers. We do see a couple more coming in, but this could be nice. The DT could be able to do some really nice delaying and manage to get a couple of good hits on the Lurkers as well. If he could pick off this hatchery, that would be a really pretty nice job for these Zealots. He needs to get around to the other side to make sure he doesn't take too many Lurker hits. Oh, losing so many Zealots all at once, and this attack is going to be repelled quite nicely. Oh, but so many drone kills going down at the third base for the Zerg. It looks like that Dark Templar manages to catch 5 drones, which is pretty much the entire population of that base. Leaving Kashu a little bit thin on the ground in terms of economy. Some more Corsairs coming in here as well, being attacked by 1 lone Hydralisk, and this DT could make some pretty good work for itself in attacking this hatchery too.
Luckily, speed is already done for Kashu, so he's going to be able to fly the Overlords out there and save the hatchery. But at the same time, he's taking a lot of damage from just a couple Corsairs. Only has 1 Hydralisk to try to save them. And finally, enough Hydralisk get there that well, not exactly. Corsair swoops back in, picks off 1 more.
Yeah, we have some fairly confident observer timing coming in for Defi. We don't have an observatory coming in quite yet. It seems to be producing a shuttle first and foremost. That's probably going to be for DT drops of some kind. But doing a nice job of throwing down that robo just as soon as he knew what was going on. The observatory is going to be going down in a second too. He really needs to be thinking about getting out to a third base pretty soon though. Harass is good, but it's not going to be a game changer too much if he is so far behind in economy. His army looking pretty small though, so he's going to have to do some nice stuff with the shuttle play.
Yeah, this is still just such a funky build from Kashu.
Yeah.
He's playing it, he has so many lanes, and yet he's playing it so defensively. He has not even gotten across his double bridge this game, aside from attacking scouting probes, and yet he's taking more expansions behind it. I am intrigued, to say the least.
Yeah, but then if you look at the facts of it, and how the game is playing out, how is Kashu going to be able to break those expansions right now? I mean, I know it's an odd kind of defensive composition, but it seems to be working. It seems to be functional. I mean, Kashu can defend that. Defi won't be able to break it for a little while at least. So I guess in that respect, it's a pretty good strategy.
Well, 4 DTs coming in. Kashu already has Overlord speed, so he's going to be able to get Overlords into position very quickly. But he doesn't have a lot of Hydralisks, so but the Zergling should be enough to deal with it. We'll see how well he can defend against it. It's kind of hard to do DT drops on the main just because you're almost certainly going to get the shuttle seen. And if Kashu's paying attention, he should know that there's a shuttle coming in.
Yeah, it does indeed. We see all the drones running away pretty smartly, and a few Hydralisks coming in. We're backed up by a lot of Zerglings as well, getting a little bit stuck on that ramp with all those drones. Nice quick pull means that these DTs are going to be pretty ineffective. We have 4 Overlords coming in as well. These DTs need to be picked up into that shuttle right away, otherwise that's going to be a pretty expensive mistake, and he does indeed do so. Going to run them away. Hopefully he doesn't lose them all on the way out. These bases are pretty well closed down, but Kashu really needs to pump his economy a little bit more. We can see that he's got quite a lot of lava sitting around at various places, really not able to use those all to their full potential just yet. Defi, under this smoke screen of the DT messing around, has managed to get a 3rd base up and running as well, and a 4th base coming into play too. So if he can hold on for just a little bit longer, he should be in an increasingly decent position in this game.
Yes. Kashu with the most passive 5 hatcheries before gas I've ever seen. It's sitting back, getting some nice upgrades. And he's extending the creep to completely link the 2 bases, as if he was playing StarCraft 2 or something. Quite amusing. But yeah, that is going to be pretty hard for. It's going to be pretty hard for Defi to attack this, and I think you're making a great point with the larva. There are so many times that Kashu has 3 larvae sitting at his hatcheries, and if you look, he's not exactly stockpiling a lot of money. So that seems like something that's fundamentally wrong with the build. You have too many hatcheries to be able to spend money with money off of. It's not as if he took a lot of drone damage so far. Took a little bit with that 1 DT earlier, but anyway, this is going to be the best attacking path that Defi has to attack it down this ramp.
Oh, we do have a DT drop coming in, however, into the main, and I don't know if Kashu's seen it. He should be able to see that shuttle. I'm surprised he's not pulling drones yet, and how long will it be until he sees it? I think we could see a little bit of distraction at the other side of things from Defi, but that drop is doing so much damage. There are 3 DTs taking care of every single drone in the mineral line. That's the last thing Kashu needs right now. We can see lava sitting around once again, still unable to use all those up. He needs the drones, he needs the minerals which they provide.
A small lurker ling attack has been able to shut down mining at Defi's expansion, but the lurkers will be eventually cleaned up. These DTs are doing so much damage, even taking out the Hydralisks sent to clean them up. 6 kills, 7 kills, 8 kills on those 3 DTs. And they're going to be able to even snipe the lair. Well, yeah, they're going to get the lair.
Yeah, we can see them on +2 weapons already, which means they're just so effective against the Zerg buildings, making good work of the lair. And a lot of drones into the bargain. Kashu's economy is once again looking a little bit crippled. His infrastructure once again looking pretty badly damaged. He's going to have a lot of drones stacked up at his natural. He'll probably do well to spread some of those up to the 12 o'clock base. A relatively small army still from Defi, so Kashu should be able to hold out for the moment. But he needs to be super cost effective going into the rest of this game if he's going to be able to bring this level.
Yeah, this is certainly one of the games where Kashu not trying something conventional, and clearly this is not what he wanted in this game. Clearly he wanted something different, but I'm not exactly sure how this build was supposed to look if everything had worked out perfectly for him.
I think it was meant to look a lot more droney than it has ended up looking. I mean, he's ended up looking very, very poor economically. He's always had lava sitting around. Never at any point has he been able to spend them all. Oh, did we just see a shuttle get scourged over the back mineral line?
I heard the shuttle get scourged.
Yeah, I think he's finally managed to get some scourge out, because we didn't see a spire for quite a while. We do, of course, have a queen's nest down already, and a hive finally morphing in at the natural. Yeah, there you go, finally found the spire. And kashu, really not in the best position. He would want to probably have another base up at this point, as the Protoss is on 4 bases already, looking pretty good. Still notably only on 3 gas, and he's not mining as efficiently as he could be at that 4th base of his, only mining from half his mineral patches, so it's only 4 extra. Not too much of a big deal.
kashu streaming out with some speedlings here. He does not have crack yet, as the hive is only just... Actually, it's only halfway, it's not even just finishing. See if he can do a little bit of damage here, but Defi has, well, 3 unguarded cannons. Probably not going to be enough to deal with those lings alone. Defi's going to have to send a little bit extra to help out. So, a little bit of a successful attack from kashu here. Gonna get a little bit something.
Yeah. I think the kashu's going to be feeling pretty frustrated at this stage of the game. I think he's going to be feeling very stationary and like he's lost a lot of what he had in terms of ability to get out on the map and do any kind of damage. Definitely just pretty much roaming free, and kashu will be getting increasingly frustrated with this state of affairs and how slow it's taking him to build up his economy once again. He is now on hive tech. I can't quite find exactly what he's doing with that. I presume it's going to be for cracklings first and foremost.
Yeah, crackling just started.
Yeah, but I can't imagine he's feeling good about the way this game's gone. He's lost so much time during which he should have really been proactive, but he just didn't have the money behind him to do so.
Just consider how long this game has been a 4-base Zerg versus a 4-base Protoss. That's terrible for Zerg. And then that's even before considering the amazing amount of damage that DT dropped in. So, it's just... Yeah, at this point... you almost have to think that kashu just needs to scrap it and call it a game. He's going to continue, because I mean he does have an army, he does have a hive, he's on 4 bases, but is he really going to be able to use the 4 bases? I think he really needs to hope that Defi makes a pretty serious mistake at this point.
I think Defi's made a little bit of a mistake initially looking at what he's got right away. Simply in overproducing probes, he's at 198 supply, and he's only got 4 control groups of units. Very, very low on kind of those expensive big late game gas heavy units, which he'd probably want more of to deal with the Zerg army that he's probably going to see full of hive tech quite soon. The Zerg army still not looking too strong against Speedlots and Storm, but surely will be sooner or later. And I would expect Defi would want a little bit of a bigger army at this stage.
Yeah. Defi is maxed at this point, so he can't continue to add on more things. He does have a lot of probes, and that's what's taking up all his army supply. But I don't know what he actually can do with his army. He's going to have a really hard time getting across the double bridge, and he could just try to attack down the ramp. But any angle he attacks on kashu, just because kashu is so recessed and on 4 connected bases, it's going to be really hard for him to actually do damage to kashu.
Yeah, I think kashu knows this. Defi is going to be able to scout that top right hand corner. There are some lings laying in wait for him, and Defi could now swing around and try and take care of that. But at the same time, that leaves him a little bit open to a kind of a pincer attack or a backstab from kashu, which I think is exactly what kashu's thinking. Running out a whole bunch of cracklings, seeing the Protoss army, but wow, that is a hell of a lot of cracklings. If we look at our minimap, we can just see them clouding across the map. That is really quite something to witness, but having to pull them back because he knows they're no real match for the Protoss army as it stands. But nice from kashu getting that top right hand base up. A little bit of a scouting error there from Defi. I feel that a couple of DTs positioned around would have made pretty easy work of that. Getting the left hand base up as well. I expect him to be getting the bottom left hand base up too. If kashu lets this go on too much longer, he is going to have a very, very hard time defeating the Protoss anywhere on the field.
Yeah. Defi is taking bases, taking bases 5 and 6 compared to kashu, who's about to lose his base 5. And Defi has a lot of dragoons. Compared to kashu's pure crackling army, it could be difficult, really. Storm drop killing off some drones at the 3rd. But it could be difficult for such a goon-heavy army to deal with that many cracklings. How many kills did that get? 1, 6? Okay, 7. Pretty good.
And at the main, we have a 7 kills zealot at the main. We have 7 kills at the natural, and we also have a whole load of kills. And we could get a lot more kills at the Zerg's 12 o'clock base. As a High Templar landed there with no energy for his storm. And Kashu still hasn't noticed that. But
71, 72, 73, 74, 75. Oh, good.
He just put him away cleanly.
Good
but yeah,
stuff.
he loses his top right hand base, which was an important part of his economy, and he could get so many overlords caught here into the Protoss.
Oh, and they're all loaded up.
Oh, so
very close from immediately losing the game there. But Kashu does pull back. He's not going to lose his entire drop.
Yeah, but honestly, definitely on a lot of bases now. Bottom left-hand base is coming up. The left-hand base is coming up as well. He's producing Reavers just to make himself completely safe from Dark Swarm stuff. Just to make sure he's got the nice defenses up there. His army still looks a little bit small for me, I have to admit. I think he should have been a little more conservative on the probes, and at this stage he'd probably afford to just kind of throw a few in, just to build up his army to a little bit bigger. A lot of lurkers now coming out onto the middle of the map, and finally that big Zerg army is making some headway. He does have Ultra Missiles as well with that important 5 armor upgrade, so he does have a pretty good shot at actually taking out the Protoss army if he gets a good engagement angle. A big drop coming into the top right hand corner as well, going to be easily to take care of that one single Dragoon that's just chilling up at that point.
Defi's entire army coming to try to stop it. Ooh! Storm going off only kills off 1 Overlord, though. The rest of them slightly injured. But Defi's army is horribly out of position to deal with Kashu's huge attack force coming down to attack Defi's double Robo Bay. This is the second base he has 2 Robo facilities at. But we'll see if he can do damage here. I think he's going to be able to, at the very least, clear out this base.
Yeah, I think you're right. Those 2 Robos going to be doing nothing. Only 1 Reaver was out at the time. A few more might have made a much better job of this defense, but as it is, this base is definitely going to fall. That nice Zerg army finally getting out of the map. I think he's still unaware of the left-hand side base. He might just have a clue from his overlords hanging out over his natural. And now it remains to be seen whether the Protoss army will be able to get in there and take care of the Zerg force. He's going to be running in over quite a lot of lurkers. That Observer is a little bit late to the party, losing a lot of health off a few of his Dragoons at the forefront of things, and a lot of overlords coming to drop on the right-hand base. I'm not sure if this is a good idea. There are a lot of cannons there, but it could just about work out for him if any of the units actually get out at all. He needs to drop right now. He's losing so much stuff. All those overlords just drifting over the cannons, finally unloading, losing only 1 overlord in the end. The army at the bottom, oh, nice storm going down, taking out a lot of Hydras, but this right-hand side base is going to be cleaned up. A lot of cracklings going in. The Reavers not lasting very long either. A lot of probes falling, and this could well be Kashu's way back into the game. We see some DT drops happening into the main though. Going to take out that evolution chamber as the next attack upgrade finishes. Top right hand corner, Kashu doing a nice job of taking out the Protoss forces, and the shuttle is now empty for Defi as well, so I am to assume that he's used up all of his storm drops for the time being. That right hand base definitely finished for the Protoss player, and he's now relying on the left hand side of the map for his whole economy.
Well, Kashu was the comeback player in ISL 2. And he's certainly making a strong case for being the comeback player in ISL 3. This game, in the course of just a couple of attacks from Kashu, has completely turned itself on his head. Defi now has one mining base essentially, one and a half mining bases, but one of them is almost out of minerals as it is. And Kashu's managed to take another base of his own. This game is so odd.
Yeah, it's really opened up for Kashu. Suddenly he has the map control. He just managed to snipe out Defi's only shuttle, which was flying around doing some pretty frustrating damage earlier on in the match. So that's pretty good for him. There's 1 DT still waiting in the main. And Kashu's economy is really something which is on the way up now. I mean, Defi throwing in units at the top right hand corner, that High Templar is going to be sniped out pretty easily. He should be able to hold that against this army coming in. We'll see how he fares there. Those lurkers still positioned at the 6 o'clock base, making it very difficult for the Protoss to get another base up and mining down there. Bottom left hand base not too well saturated with probes. Left hand side also pretty much entirely devoid of probes. So Defi's economy is looking tiny at this point. Nice storms to get rid of a lot of those Zerglings, just about saving most of the rest of his High Templars. But Defi, his bank is surprisingly not going down too fast, but yeah, he's going to feel the squeeze very, very soon.
Yep. Defi, despite excuse me, because of all those attacks, Kashu lost a lot of his army, so only at 133 compared to Defi's maxed, and that is an interesting composition outside of Defi's natural, the double Archon, 6 Dark Templars. Sure, why not?
Why not?
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I like this when we see Dark Archons coming into play, when we start to see Maelstrom happening, and it's just all representative part of Defi's attempt at this point of the game to try and make himself as cost effective as possible. Reavers, a good way to do that. Dark Archon's a good way to do that, and Dark Templar can be a good way to do that as well if Zerg is a little bit lax. But that is one hell of a lot of Ultras coming in down, heading to the bottom right hand corner of the map, and Defi, as I just mentioned, he's got to be really cost effective to make this work. Will he try and pull back? Looks like he's going to start to size up for an engagement. Nice Maelstrom going down, and he's going to be able to take out most of this Zerg army. Zerg army coming in bits and bobs a little bit here. More nice Maelstrom going down, enabling him to get some strong Side Storms. So many Side Storms going off on all these Ultras, and it looks like the Zerg army is going to be cleared up. Beautiful job there from Defi, doing exactly what he needs to do. Pulling back across his bridges now, though, as I think he doesn't have any observers in support, so I'm getting a little bit bottlenecked on the bridge there, and it looks like these Dark Archons are going to be not long for this world.
He had a lot of spellcasters. He needed to micro that perfectly, and he did, taking out a lot of Kashu's units. Still very close to max compared to Kashu, under 100 supply.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so hard with such a little supply at this point for Kashu to break any of these bases. He still does have a solid economy, though, mining from all of his bases. Only one of them mined out, the natural one.
I'm incredibly surprised, really, that we haven't seen, that we're not seeing more stuff from Kashu. I mean, I know he's got quite a lot of stuff out on the map, but I would always expect the Zerg just to have a little bit more than this, and maybe the fact that he's been constantly replenishing drones is largely responsible for that. Unloading a load of cracklings outside the bridges right there. Not quite sure what that was in aid of. Now loading up a big drop, it looks like. Will he go into the main, or will he go and try and take care of one of the other bases?
Not sure. And Defi switched back into Corsair production, so he needs to be very careful to not run his Overlords into those +1 Corsairs. And this is not looking good. The Corsairs see them. The Corsairs are now pursuing. Will the Overlords be able to drop them off? There aren't. No. All of the Overlords are loaded, dropping off one Hydralisk to try to scare those off. The Corsairs will ignore the few that are dropped, and he's going to lose a lot of troops to these Corsairs, but he just keeps going. He's not going to unload. He's going to try to go all the way to this main base, and Storm's going down. Oh, Kashu.
That was a pretty disastrous attempt to drop. I mean, on the way across, he didn't lose too many units, but then finally at the very end, the Overlords started going down, and he suddenly lost a whole bunch of stuff. One crackling left, feeling sad and lonely, trying to get rid of that Nexus all by himself. Doing a pretty impressive job. It's quite interesting to see that Kashu clearly thinks that this game is very almost his. If he can just stay alive for a little bit longer, he's laying down more hatcheries, he's laying down more bases, trying to get that economy really working for him. He still has a good core of Ultras. He needs to reproduce some Overlords right away because he's very, very short on supply, a little bit supply blocked right now. But a very, very big and scary army coming across the map for Defi. Probably going to be able to take out that top right-hand side. Anything short of miracle sunken colonies are just not going to do the trick here. Holy, that's a lot of Reavers. I just noticed that it's 2, 4, 6, 8 Reavers in shuttles. How is any Zerg going to ever break that?
Defi's biggest problem this game was that he could just not crack the nut that was Kashu's 4 bases, but now that the game's getting a little bit bigger than that, this battle's going to go down, and he's going to easily be able to crush what little Kashu has left, take out the mining bases that Kashu's trying to set up. And Reavers, man, they do a lot of damage. They do a lot of damage really quickly.
Yeah, in combination with those Maelstroms, that Zerg army didn't have a chance. GG from Kashu. Nice job by Defi taking that one.
Oh. Good game.
Just the whole time, Kashu just seemed so static throughout that mid game. By the time we got to the late game, he was still replenishing his economy, and that's the last place Zerg wants to be.
So, as you can see by the overlay, Defi will be moving on to play Pike. Winner advances. The loser gets to go play Kashu for one last chance to qualify. And then one of these players will unfortunately be eliminated. You know what? I'm going to say it. Defi, for a person who hasn't been playing Brood War and is horribly inactive, doesn't look horribly inactive.
No.
He looks pretty good.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. I mean, beating kashu in a long game is definitely no mean feat. Good job to him.
Well, he has a another stern task ahead of him, going up against the Polish monster Zerg Pike.
It's gonna be good stuff. Didn't create on Fighting Spirit? Did you start the game already?
Oh, man, I was so excited about how I didn't start it on Fighting Spirit. Oh, man.
Did you go full screen as well?
Yeah, I went full screen as well. Oh.
Did it all right, apart from I wasn't there.
Yeah. It's clearly all your fault. Okay, game's hosted. I'm gonna wait for you this time.
On my way.
Oh.
Don't you worry.
Alright. Okay, you know how we block replay progress? So that players can't, so that the spectators can't be spoiled at exactly how long it's going?
Yep.
I wonder if there's a correlation between downloading time and how long the game's going to be. Because a long replay is a bigger file size. Bigger file sizes take longer to download.
That's curious.
I wonder if somebody could like approximate to like within 5-minute range how long
replays must be such tiny files though. I mean, they must be kilobytes. They must be so small.
Yeah. Anyway, well, you're in the game now, so you can see what I've seen. You are now caught up to how far I got into the replay. The player started mining minerals. And if you would please call out the colors.
Absolutely, I will. At the top of the map, we have ISL 3 Pike spawning in as the white Zerg. And on the bottom left-hand corner type of place on the map, we have ISL 3 Defi coming in as the orange Protoss. And the map is...
Aztec.
Aztec, yes, I just had a look at my map preview just to make sure I had it right. And we have another spectator in the game. For some reason, it is Plumber once again. It seems to take a special interest on this particular day.
Yeah. Probably people just couldn't host, I'm gonna guess.
Oh, that's also likely. Oh, full screen.
I got it.
You got it, okay.
I got it.
Seriously, I just suddenly looked over at stream chat, people shouting, upset, people everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I am envious of commentators in Korea, if for no other reason than they get to have people do that for them.
Oh yeah, that must be luxury, I'm telling you. Just not having to worry about, well, of course at the moment I have to worry about nothing except talking, but yeah, I can tell you it's luxury, it's brilliant. It's everything you want.
Pretty much, man.
Yeah, it's all you dream it would be, and more.
Alright. So, Pike with the overpool, and Defi is going to get the scout off first, so plenty of time to react properly, get up the appropriate amount of cannons to defend against that. And Aztec is an easy map to wall on, especially in this position for Defi, so looks like he's gearing up for a normal wall, won't see any weird stuff out of him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty nice standard wall. It looks like it should be good. That little skeleton thing, of course, is completely impassable to pretty much everything. So that's a useful little bit of a map feature. Probe doing a good job of scouting, losing a lot of health though. He's going to have to be a little bit careful. Will he lay down a pylon? Oh, it looks like he might actually lose that scouting probe. Does lay down a pylon. Good job. And the drone doesn't quite manage to get the moving shot action on that probe itself. A couple of Zergings going to pop out now, means that pylon is not going to be warped in eventually, so he does have to throw down a photon cannon as well. It's natural.
And Defi's going to continue to be annoying with that probe, canceling the pylon, and is he going to rebuild? Or is he just going to leave it cancelled? Nope, not going to bother to rebuild it, as the Zerglings would be pretty quick at taking it out. But he did delay it for quite a bit, as Pike almost getting up to 600 minerals before throwing that down.
I think what would be cool at this stage is if Defi sent out another probe. I think it's a good point at which to do it. If he sends this one home, whilst he still had the vision on minerals in the natural, the main of the Zerg, to send another one out, just to make sure he gets that complete scouting, carry on with a tough probe rather than this weak fellow we've got running around right now. But as long as he can keep that alive, it's not too much of an issue. Looking like quite secure at his front door as well, making sure he's got the 2 cannon defense. Possibly slightly overkill because there's only 4 Zerglings on the map. just going to scout that third base, and that's an important little bit of information.
Yep. He pretty much already knew that there was going to be a third hatchery somewhere, just based off of the fact that Pike cannot throw down anything beyond the spawning pool. So it's a matter of locating it, and by seeing that it's located there, most likely Pike isn't going to go for some super aggressive thing in the beginning of the game, and going to play things rather standardly. But that probe is not going home, as you were suggesting, and it is just continuing to move around the map with one Zergling in hot pursuit.
Yeah, but unfortunately it is going to be blocked. Oh, and he might lose it on the ramp. No, just manages to turn around in time. It's very easy to lose your scouting probe in such a situation as that. So that's pretty much the limit of the information he's going to get on the Zerg tech. We do already have a layer going down, which means it is going to be standard stuff for a while at the very least. An Overlord chilling right in the middle of the Protoss base, but we don't have a Dragoon being produced. It's going on straight to Zealots. We do already have the +1 weapons upgrade coming in, and I'm curious to see whether he lays down a Citadel as his natural, try and keep it a little bit hidden as that Overlord heads on out, or whether he's going to go for a little bit of a less zealot-y orientated kind of play. I think this would be a good map for Zealots, so just kind of looking at it, looking at the layout, it's got quite a lot of nice open spaces with which you can use to surround Zerg units and whatnot, so it could actually be pretty strong.
In that regard it is, but Aztec was the map that pretty much... Aztec was the map that started 4-base Turtle Zerg. Yeah. So it wouldn't be a shock at all to see Pike go 4-base Turtle Zerg. He's gearing up for it as far as he could at this point in the game. Now getting his next hatcheries, but so the Zealots are good in the middle of the map, but on this map Zerg just doesn't go for anything, any kind of earlier pressure. They just sit back on their laurels and build lurkers at their base, and that can really make speed lots kind of hard to use.
Yeah.
Nope, not gonna lose it, Overlord.
Just gonna get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why speed lots might be a bit difficult in that regard, but I think that they get a little bit of an edge just in that, as you said, it is the Turtle Zerg base, but I think that means that Protoss will just be a little bit more desperate to kind of finish the game, you know, because no one likes playing against a big turtle, so it can be very, very difficult to deal with.
Well, Pike is certainly a player with a lot of experience. We'll have this. He will probably be able to set up proper sim cities, which will be quite difficult for Defi to break. But we'll see what Defi is able to do. Defi is a 2v2 player, so mid-game large scale attacks with Zealots or Zerglings or Marines is kind of his specialty. Although admittedly he does not play Protoss 2v2, he plays Zerg and Terran, so... Yeah. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
That's good trivia. That's quite interesting. I wonder why he's opted for it in this game. Maybe he has something very specific planned for us. It does look like we're going to have the +1 weapons for the Zealots finishing just a little bit before the leg speed, so that should enable him to push out just to his ramp at the very least. Getting a little bit of extra control. We have one creep colony going down at the natural and one going down at third. That's probably not going to be enough. You might want to lay down one or two more. It looks like he's producing up some Scourge as well right away to get rid of that Corsair. And going up to Lurkers as well. Very, very smart option here, given that he's going to be fighting against Speed Zealots. I think that's pretty much the ideal counter.
Yep. The fast lurkers, 5 hatcheries, good SimCity at both bases. It is certainly looking like that 4-base Zerg. He just has not quite thrown down that 6th hatchery yet. And here comes Defi out with a control group. No, 10 Zealots. And we'll see. We'll see how much damage he can do. I think that Pike has enough time to get out at least a couple of lurkers.
Yeah.
How much longer until the lurker upgrade is done? It is about 60% done. It might actually, the lurkers might not quite finish in time. Ooh, Pike should be able to snipe that Zealot.
Yeah, I think Pike knowing this is throwing down extra colonies at his 3rd base. It might not be arriving in time. He has a spore colony coming in for some reason, but these Zealots are just going to run in straight past the SimCity. He's not able to do any drilling with his drones. That's a pretty major area. He should have tried to buy time in any way he could. Sunken colonies are going to go down really fast against those +1 Zealots, and they're now in a good position to take care of all these Zerglings as well. If he micros correctly, he's not quite doing that. He's losing a lot of Zealots unnecessarily to drone drilling, and eventually it looks like it's going to be a good job of damage control there from Pike, losing a couple of colonies but losing nothing in the way of drones and taking care of that Zealot pressure quite handily.
Defi surprised Pike a little bit by moving out with 10 speed lots, and the defense looked like it would have been absolutely perfect if Defi had moved out slightly sooner with the standard 7 speed lots, but because he went out with 10, Pike didn't quite have enough. He had to panic a little bit, throw down an extra sunken, get some zerglings over there, but in the end everything's going to work out for him, and as you said, trading 2 sunken colonies is not that big of a loss for a zerg player in this situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really pretty good deal for the Zerg. Burying a couple of lurkers down, making sure to get rid of these extra speeds that's running around, trying to have a little bit of a poke into the natural. The Corsairs are being chased down by some Scourge. He's going to lose one. Is he going to lose another? It looks like he may, in fact, lose 2 of his Corsairs. There we go. He has only 1 remaining now, so that's going to make the Zerg a little bit happier dealing with that kind of thing. But still, the Zerg looking a little bit short on supply. Only 48 versus the Protoss 70. Not too bad, though, as his economy really starts to kick in right now. And this way he starts producing that big old army that we're going to see coming into the mid-game. And curiously, he may well be able to take a pretty nice position with lurkers and deny the Protoss a third base for quite some time. Third base not yet started as the Zerg army starts to be produced.
Yeah, Pike was actually dodging around Zealots to get the lurkers into position, and contains can be rather good on this map. Defi going in for another attack on the natural, but far too many lurkers there for that to do anything. He's going to pull back before losing them. But those are just the Zealots that are on the other side of the contain. I don't even think you'd be able to get them home. They're all pretty injured, but there's only 2 lurkers. You might be able to run most of them by. Anyway, it looks like he's going to engage here, just lose all of them to lurkers in the end.
Yeah.
And that allows...
We do have... Sorry, we do have double robo happening for Defi. Plumbum decides he's had enough and leaves. But yeah, double robo for some reason. I wonder if that's a mistake. One of them producing a shuttle, one of them producing an observer. Or could there be a grand plan?
That has to... I don't know. That has to be I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's pretty out there. I think that's got to be an error. I can't imagine any good utility for that at this point.
I've seen a couple games where Protoss just get so frustrated with lurker contains that they go double robo and build like 10 shuttles and just ferry out all of their units. Specifically,
that could be a good possibility.
Specifically, it was free versus great on Medusa, where that game was quite the interesting game between those two. But that's usually at a much later point. He doesn't have the gateways to justify double shuttles, I wouldn't think, but he's doing it anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be big drop stuff. Does he have... He does, in fact... Does he have shuttle speed? No, not quite yet, but it is coming. So it is going to be a big drop style, and he's going to get some nice stuff landed into the Zerg's main. He's got... Let me see, where is that shuttle? Please tell me that shuttle didn't get scared. No, they didn't. Okay. He has 2 DTs, 2 Zealots, and 2 Archons. That's scary. That's going directly into the Zerg's main base, and that's going to be able to take out a whole lot of tech if he micros it correctly, which I imagine he will do. Corsairs flying over now, seeing exactly where the scouting is, and those shuttles going to be able to possibly do a huge amount of damage. Zerg trying to do a little bit of bust in the front, but not being successful, taking down the gateway, and not much else. But here it goes, here with the drop. The drones know what's up, but that is going to be scary. He's going to be able to take out the lair, I would imagine. Will he lose the shuttles? Oh, losing both of the shuttles. That's a little bit of a mistake. Should have been able to save them, really. But Zerg is now in panic mode, running home to try and do something about this.
Yep, the Evolution Chamber will go down, stopping that +1 attack from coming up, and Pike does have a good number of units. It should be able to clean this up. Yes. Actually, it's going to be pretty close. Archons have a lot of health. No, it looks like it's actually not going to be enough, and Pike's going to need to be forced to make more units to try to clean up the rest of these units. Still an Archon and a Zealot left. If he doesn't take care of those, it can do a lot of damage. Taking out that Spire would be quite the thing, and the drones are transferring back. Clump drone through the Archon. He's trying to drill an Archon. He's drilling an Archon, and that's why.
Oh no!
Why?
Oh no! Real drone disaster there, and this has done uncountable damage. And the scary thing now is the Corsairs are coming back for more. He's a little bit supply blocked. He's about to be a lot more supply blocked. All 3 of these Overlords are going to go down, and then probably he's going to go looking with those Corsairs for any more. And he's probably going to find them as well. This contain at the Protoss front still looking a little bit strong, not quite as strong as it once was, not backed up by too much. Oh, and Tareva's dropping in. So the Zerg main taking out so many drones and so much stuff. This is some terrifying play by Defi, really showing his worth here and beating the Zerg with pretty much pure harassment. Oh, one more Scarab landing on that final drone stack to just really put the hurt on the Zerg's economy.
defi, by far the huge underdog in this group of just such great players, is looking absolutely fantastic and has Pike on his back foot at this point. Pike only now taking that safe main base. So he only has 2 mining bases at this point, and defi's just going to send his Reaver down in that direction as well. These Corsairs taking out the Scourge. The Scourge are not targeting the Corsairs, they're just trying to pursue the shuttle. And will they even get it? No, does not quite hit it. The shuttle was low on low health, so it would have died to that one Scourge, but no, it will not. And wow, this contain is doing absolutely nothing because of defi's insane harass. I thought defi was going to be in a scary position just because he had so few units to defend against Pike if Pike tried to bust, but now he has a great army to try to defend against a bust if Pike was to try to attack. And moving out with 2 more speed shuttles with 8 zealots in them.
Yeah, and this is going to be really, really bad. We see that the Zealots do have +2 attack upgrades, so they're going to do so well once they're into the Zerg main. And I don't even know if there are enough Hydras to deal with this. Of course, given that if he then chooses to fly the Reavers over there as well, then that's going to be awful for the Zerg. That is so many Zealots on the face of it. And these Hydras are going to be hard pushed to get rid of that. He needs to send them all, or none at all, really, because otherwise they're just going to lose them in little bits. That lair is certainly going down. Pike being torn to pieces by some very, very creative play here from defi, doing a beautiful job of making the best of a bad situation. Not for 1 second looking in any way scared.
Oh, trying to find that sweet spot where he can drop a Reaver behind, and the Reaver dies, gets 2 shots off, but those 2 shots do so much damage to Hydralisk and drones. And, oh man, defi is just chewing through Pike. Pike trying to snipe the shuttle? No, does not quite get the shuttle snipe. Doesn't have a Reaver in it anyway.
He lost both of his Reavers.
He lost both of them, but wow. 3 more shuttles back at the base. Filled up with Reaver, 2 High Templar, 4 Zealots, and I couldn't even click on the other one.
Yeah, I mean, when we saw those two robotics facilities, little did we know that defi is a man with a plan. He knew what he was going to do with this. Will he lose any shuttles on the way in? He needs to drop some Zealots down right now.
No, he gets it off.
It's not going to do too much anyway. There is 1 Reaver out on the field and a good number of High Templar as well. What's he going to be able to do with this? Oh, nice snipe of the Reaver. But these Zealots are doing a lot of damage to the Hydralisks, as is the Side Storm as well. So these shuttles definitely making good use of themselves. Good High Templar snipes, but once again the main base is going to be taken out. All the shuttles making out somehow alive. I don't even know how that actually happened. Reaver possibly going down a little bit cheaply. But the main base once again in a lot of trouble. We see the Corsairs running around trying to do some good damage. We see a total of, if I can get my clicking right, 6 kills on those Corsairs. So doing an okay job. And finally defi is out of the contain. And now this is where it gets really terrifying. He needs to get a 3rd base up really to cement his position into this game, because Pike is still not out of it. But yeah, defi's done a fantastic job here. And finally he is out and he is on the map. He is looking good.
Just breaking that contain as his 2 bases are nearly mined out. Going in for more harass down at the bottom right with a Reaver. And, oh, Pike's not pulling the drones.
Oh,
He's not pulling the drones. 7 kills, 9 kills. He's going to kill all of the drones at this base. Just as they transfer in. Oh, no. And that Reaver might even kill the hatchery if Pike doesn't react to it. He doesn't seem to be. What do you do? What do you do against a player who builds 6 speed shuttles and just never stops?
You have to have Scourge, you have to have a lot of them. They need to be covering all the options. We do have some Lurkers coming in, but they're not prepared, they're not burrowed, which means they're not really going to do much at all. That Reaver's still just relaxing and taking care of that hatchery, but he is going to either go down or be picked up. Nice by defi, managing to keep an eye on that and does get the Reaver out safe. And he is just taking complete map control now. He is everywhere and the Zerg is nowhere, sort of locked into his little bases. 71 supply against a whopping 134 for the Protoss.
This is amazingly cool harass by defi, and it's just not stopping. Look at how many shuttles are in his base. There are 5 shuttles here, just loaded up. This one with 2 Reavers, this one with a Reaver. Actually, most of these are empty, but 3 Reavers now moving out, and a huge, almost pure goon Templar force also moving out with it. And Pike, I don't think Pike has enough units to stop 3 Reavers and a whole mess of goons.
No, I think you're right. I think this is scary. scary stuff. I think he can't even stop these Reavers, let alone the Dragoons, but the Reavers are going to go straight into the Zerg main. Once again, the Zerg main is landed in an entire world of pain. You're going to have to pull back so many Hydralisks to deal with that, or risk losing his hatchery once again. All the drones go down immediately. Didn't even stand a chance. He's supply blocked again. Those Corsairs doing some more good damage. And honestly, I think this is going to be the death knell for Pike if this Protest army decides to push him far enough.
It's looking like it. Lots of Hydras coming back to finally deal with the Reavers, but the shuttle's just going to pick them up and fly them away. Meanwhile, the Dragoon army getting closer and closer to Pike's base. Pike, he's still only on those 3 bases, and 2 of them are getting very low at that. I mean, at the same time, Defi only has 1 healthy base himself, but he's in a position he really doesn't need healthy bases that much.
No.
Almost double the supply of Pike. Does he have upgrades? Yeah, he even managed to get +3 attack upgrades somewhere in that. That's just...
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Cool
His multitasking has been nice this game. His strategy has been really nice this game. He does have observers with his army, so really now I think he's going to be able to pretty much crawl his way into the natural expansion for Pike and pretty much take care of this nice and easily. We have a shuttle going in the bottom right hand corner as well, once again showcasing that multitasking. It's going to be a little bit disappointed when he gets there, doing a nice storm drop from the high ground, but there's really not many more drones to be got. And now he's just got to slow push his way with those Reavers into the natural expansion, and I think it's probably going to be GG for Pike, much to my surprise.
Yeah, you'd have to think so. I don't know how Pike can stand up against this attack at this point. He's just being attacked on all sides, even still storm dropping even at this point, and Defi taking another expansion up at the top left.
Big storm drop going down at the natural, which is basically the last of the useful drones which Pike had in the game. Lost his shuttle, but of course it doesn't matter at this point. If he takes out any economy, then that's pretty much all the Pike has. The Reavers making this very, very easy for Defi to push into the natural. Just chucking stuff in now, trying to finish the game. A lot of Dragoons going down, but I'm not sure it even matters. Nice side storms, and Pike pushing forward to try and take care of his Reavers. A lot of Hydras coming out of the woodwork with beautiful side storms going down for Defi, and Pike is going to be feeling pretty miserable at this stage as this stuff just waltzes its way on into his natural to clean this up.
Yep. The natural will be going down now. The natural had a lot of its tech in it because he lost his main over and over again. And there are no observers with this army. So there is one. Excuse me. They're just not attacking the lurkers. The observer's a little bit out of position. So it looks like it may be cleaned up, but it's already done enough damage. GG from Pike. Defi 2-0s his group.
Wow.
What?
Incredible play though.
Such incredible play.
Yeah, that game was creativity. Real creativity.
I'm such a Defi fan. I'm such a Defi fan now. I want to see him do really well in the round of 32. Good luck to him.
Yeah, we lost Dynot, but we gained a new favorite, so everyone's happy.
Oh, man. So, that means Defi advances. And Pike will go down to play Kashu, ZVZ on Heartbreak Ridge to close out the day.
Yeah, and this is a fight for their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them's gonna go out, and Defi just runs on through. Great play from him, and this is where we separate the men from the boys.
Indeed. Alright. So, let's get this underway. Pike versus Kashu. Winner moves on. Loser goes home. ZVZ on Heartbreak Ridge.
Awesome. So on the left-hand side we have ISL 3 Pike spawning in as Yellow Zerg coming off the back of that terrifying defeat to the monster that is Defi. And on the right-hand side we have ISL 3 Kashu spawning in as the Brown Zerg. Now, I think it's probably good at this beginning of this game, while not too much is happening, to give a little bit of a shout out to our main sponsor, which is of course the Altitude game. If you haven't yet played it yet, then go on over to altitudeisl.net to check it out, and of course there you can also see all the groups and results as well from the day's play. So go and have a look at that and you'll be satisfied for all your ISL needs.
Yes indeed.
Are we full screen, by the way? Just checking.
We are now.
Ah, yes. Were we not?
No, we were not.
Ah, yes, caught it.
Yes.
Yes. So happy.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah. Well, at least it was before the people in the stream chat said it. So.
Awesome!
Yeah.
You just predicted that I would mess up.
No. Oh, it's not like that. Don't be like that, man.
All right. Interesting scouting pattern by Kashu. Typically you do exactly what Pike's doing and send your Overlord directly across right towards the natural, but Kashu is moving it up at a diagonal. That's interesting. Now heading it back down. I don't know what the logic behind that is, but he's gonna do it anyway. I mean, you're gonna get to the main ever so slightly faster, but the issue is you don't see the Zerglings coming, which is usually the more important thing. Oh. Well, Kashu's doing something much more interesting in his main, going for the 9-9 in-base hatch. Or the 9 in-base hatch. I'm so used to 9-9 proxy, but 9 hatch. And then gas. And then spawning pool. Those Zerglings are going to be very late. Can Pike punish? Probably not. It looks like he went for... excuse me. It looks like he went for 12 pool.
Yeah, I'm completely relying on your expertise in Zerg terms.
Well, I mean, I said that Overgas was one of the most unorthodox builds in ZBZ, but the 9 hatch is even more unorthodox than that. In 9 hatch in base, it's... I'm interested to see how Kashu uses it. I mean, this is going to be the second game where he goes with a really odd build. Now, the 9 hatch in base, it's going to be going for what most in base styles look like. He just wants to flood. He wants to flood with lings and be able. Oh, actually, no. He wants to be able to flood with lings, and that's why he has 2 hatcheries here. He doesn't want to have to bother to defend the other one, and he's not mining gas anymore after getting enough surf speed. So it's essentially an all-in at this point, just going to flood with lings. And if he doesn't do enough, if he does enough damage, he might be able to switch into Mutalisk production. Pike throwing down his hatchery in base as well. Very smart decision. He does not need the extra minerals at that risk to put it outside the base. Oh, this. But that hatchery's not going to be, is only just going to finish coming up now, and Kashu's already produced 12 lings out of his hatchery, so Kashu has a good opportunity here where he has a lot of lings.
Yeah, but he's got to do well. This is definitely pretty all in at this stage. He would need to lay down an evolution chamber now and start creep colonying up pretty soon. So he's got to do some good damage here as the lings make their way in, and we have a nice concave up from Pike. Pike knows he's in a good position. If he defends with pretty much the bare minimum, then he's going to be way ahead on tech. He's going to have superior timings throughout the entire game. And Pike really should probably be getting some sunken colony support. He might be able to hold on quite well with that concave, but I'd have thought he wants to be a little bit safe. And yes, we do have a creep colony going down in his in his main mineral line, excuse me, which allows for good drone drilling and good defense there. As Kashu just probes around for a little bit of an opening. Oh, throwing away some lings there in an unfavorable engagement. Pike doing a really nice job of defending. And Kashu losing so many lings. What a terrible position it is for him. He's still all in on this, so he still has to try and make it work. We already have a sunken colony up in the mineral line for Pike, and Pike is looking good right here to take this game from Kashu.
Very much so. He has more drones, he has a lair, so if this game does go to Spire, he will have it much faster than Kashu, who isn't even mining gas still, and Kashu's just going to continue to flood with the lings. But at this point, Pike has such a good advantage. Actually, excuse me, it's about even number of lings, but combination of the sunken colony and the Spire that's on the way for Pike and more drones. Yeah,
he's got more tech, he's got more economy. Now we have Kashu going back to mining the gas, but it's really pretty late. Oh, that Overlord is so annoying, just patrolling over the hatchery in Kashu's base. That drives me up the wall. Anyway, we have a big group of lings coming into the natural Pike, but Pike in a great position to defend it. He doesn't even need to worry. He can just hold position those lings and pretty much look away and do whatever else he likes. Kashu fighting uphill here. A whole load of lings coming in to try and do the damage, but they are getting absolutely ripped to shreds. Horrible engagement for him, and this all-in ling attack is looking pretty doomed to fail at this stage. Pike's reinforcements coming in at the opportune moment. GG from Kashu, and that is simultaneously disappointing, but entirely representative of the games that we saw today.
All right, and that's how we're going to end it, just as we hit 400 viewers.
Sorry guys.
So Pike will advance after holding off Kashu all in along with Defi. Unfortunately, Kashu is eliminated. Makes me sad, but hey,
yeah,
it's the way it is.
It makes us all sad. And that would be like the comeback of a lifetime if you can come back from being out of the tournament. And I think it's beyond even beyond Kashu, unfortunately. But good games from everyone, and Defi has really definitely been the surprise pop-up of today, really taking everyone a little bit blindly.
Indeed. Well, final thanks to the sponsors. Altitude, obviously, the one we played the commercial for. We're going to be playing the commercial again after the thank yous. As they, excuse me, check out their game. Go to altitudeisl.net and you can find the link to download the game there. It's a really fun game and it's free to play. Thank you to Twitch TV, what you're watching this on, Sale and Sale's viewers for using that Twitch TV money, making this tournament better, and all the individual sponsors: Fairyland, Noise, Prowler, Nebopolis, rUSKIG, Trap, and corumjhaelen. Thank you to Elegant. Thank you to all of the people working behind the scenes, Game and AWA and Justin and Folon. And thank you to all the viewers. As I said, we had a great turnout today with 400 viewers. I hope you all tune in next week. Actually, I hope you all tune in tomorrow. 19 CET? I think it's 19 CET. It's either 19
I believe so. I'll be
or
checking
21.
the calendar.
Double check the time of it, but it's going to be tomorrow. El Master will be casting. Group 7 and 8. You're going to see Schnitzel. You're going to see Koget. You're going to see Must and Largo. Some really good players. I'll certainly be watching. And yeah, other than that, the other semifinal, NB versus SAS, will also be tomorrow. I'll be casting that at 17 CET, so tune in for that as well. That is all I have. Thank you once again for joining me, Elegant.
Yeah, no problem. It's been really good to cast. I'd like to encourage anybody who has any feedback for us to go over to the ISL group stage thread and just drop us a line if you have anything to say about the casting or the games. Please do so, and please go to altitudeisl.net to see everything that is going on. Thanks to all you for watching, and thanks for being a great caster.
Alright, goodbye everybody, see you next time.